And hello and welcome to the Black Lodge, Saturday Night Drams, live with me David at Drinks Whisky. I hope you're keeping well. How is everybody doing? It's May, we made it. We're out of winter, we're into spring, everybody's happy. It's been glorious weather all week. I've just opened some soda water, it's went everywhere during that intro sequence. We're live, aye, it's live. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm just going to shake my keyboard a wee second. That's not really how that was supposed to go down, so to speak. Anyway, let me see what's going on here. Get the chat up. We're a wee bit, housekeeping wise, wee bit behind, because we've got a wee bit different tonight. We're going to have a guest on, and we don't normally have a guest. And so that's meant I've had a bit more tech, where I've had to kind of do the jiggery pokery and get everything up and running, as you know. So I'm a little bit behind with the housekeeping. I pause that and I pop out the chat and I'll be able to see all you glorious people in the chat. Get you guys up here. Brilliant. There we go. I've got you there. I've got you here. Brilliant. Add to broadcast if I do that. There we go. Dutch Jura, welcome in. Great to see you. Everybody's looking forward to Marcos. Yeah, I was going to do it as a surprise, but then you can't really hype it up if it's a surprise. But in future, we're looking to get guests in and have them, well, have people just drop in and drop out, hopefully, and make it a bit more fluid. But aye, it should be good tonight. That's sure it should be really good fun. Evening, Petehead. How have you recovered, Frank? How was Lindbergh? I want to hear all about Lindbergh in the chat this evening, because not that we were jealous last week, but these were missed. We were wondering where everybody was. Evening, Kuju. Hope you're doing well. Just get the buttons on the go as usual. Hamish, great to have you back. You were in Germany as well, weren't you? It's a good few. We were all talking about it last week. Going, oh, we need to go next year. We need to go. But we all knew you were having a great time because there was no posts on social media. Everything was very quiet. Evening, Jeff. Great to have you in. Hope you're doing well. And we've got James. James is in this evening already. Brilliant. We're rocking and rolling right off the bat tonight. Now, you will need to bear with me. Some of the technical difficulties. We've not had a test run of this, so I was trying to do guest testing on my phone and echo and all that. But I know you guys will appreciate the effort. So I'm going to have a drink of this soda water that I was trying to have before it went everywhere. No beer. After beer. Having a break on the beer front. And I've not had any sugar either, like refined sugar, since Tuesday. And my palate is like picking up everything already. I did a wee starter dram before we kicked off this evening as usual. Just so wet my whistle, so my palate was rocking and rolling. And it's a wee Glenmorangie, but right away I was like, oh my goodness, boom, all the flavours but in the best possible way. So I'm excited for the drams this evening, which I just need to set that up, don't I? Get my wee camera on the go as usual. There we go, that's in place. Hide the comment. Codger, sorry, but I'm a wee bit pissed. Oh, Codger, don't you worry. You're more than welcome. It's Saturday night, bank holiday weekend in the UK. You are more than welcome to be. Amy's got to do a GoFundMe campaign ahead of next year's Limburg. Oh, do tell, man. Is it? You see all those drams, right? You do see them online, and you think to yourself, wow, what an amazing event. And I know there's a lot of sharing, but I'm assuming you're going to have to buy some of them. Plus, factor in your food, your drink, your accommodation and stuff. It must be pricey old trip. Frank's in Peterhead, Limburg was mental. Don't know if I've recovered completely already. Brilliant. Brilliant. This is all the stuff I want to hear. This is fantastic. Evening PX, great to have you back. And let's see. James is asking Frank, any highlight pores from there? There's bound to be a few, isn't there? Kojo as well saying Limburg looked fantastic. It looked like it. You're right there. It looked like such a wild mix of bottles, like old and new. And I know that Jeff will be able to testify because his great video about the Independent Festival and just amazing drams that were on offer there. And I know some of you guys were at that as well. I think these are the types of festivals you get from the whiskey geekery that we were calling it last week, weren't we? Oh, excuse me. Just get that right. When you just indulge. And we were talking about it as well, that buying habits at the moment seem to be going that way. We're being a lot more cautious with what we're picking up, but actually we want to buy some like old stock and get some of the old stuff on the go, where it's just a bit more flavoursome. It's a bit more like just test your palate and see like A/B test them and bits and pieces like that. So it's definitely an interesting festival, but it looked fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. What else we got? Hamish managed to get a 2CL takeaway on Glen Albyn, so completes my mini set of the free closed Inverness distilleries. Right, there you go. Paid for itself. Hamish, trip was free. Trip was absolutely free. Evening, Billy. Hope you're keeping well. I think was it last week? Last week you were a bit under the weather, Billy. Last week. So as always, we're going to find out what's in everybody's glass. So in the chat, guys, let us know what's in your glass this evening. Really intrigued to know what's going on with me tonight. So obviously we've got an All-Star night on the go, don't we? I'm going to shift the camera settings a wee bit. The iPhone thing's always a bit weird. You can zoom in a wee bit. There we go. Not in order of where we're starting, but look, it's Spirit of Speyside, isn't it? So I figured, look, I've got the South Star Speyside 10 Mystery Speyside, which maybe Marcos later on will give us a wee insight into what that actually is. So I thought I'd crack that open. Not long now, for those that are going, we've got the Campbelltown. So I had that. That was bottled in May 2018. I've had this for donks years. It's Glen Scotia. Glen Scotia's 4 years old. It says 4 years old on it, but I'm intrigued about that one. It is an interesting one. Then I had a wee dig on the shelf, and I've got this Orkney North Star that was the Tyndrum Whisky exclusive from 2021. And I've just never got around to opening it. It's 52%. The tasting notes sound great. We can talk about that when I get into it. Look at that. Then I was like, I fancy something good. I've not had any of the Kubokin for a while. Like, it's a banger. And then I thought, well, it is still Spirit of Speyside. So I've stuck that Ben Rinnes there as well, which I've been nursing and I want to nurse forever because it's amazing. So we've got a nice wee selection of drams. We're going to start with the Speysider because it's the easiest, to be fair, in terms of proof. It's coming in at 48%. Tasting notes on it are, I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I go here. Fruity, floral, citrusy, lemon slices, palate, syrupy toffee, touch of saltiness, finish, cinnamon on baked apples and pears. Now, anybody know what they reckon this is? It's something that I'm no up to speed on, so I'm no sure. But there we go. Get that pop on there. Go. We'll go for the. We'll go tall and elegant. Can't really see the colour. It's quite light, almost white winey, I would say, in colour. Get that back down. So that's where we're kicking off here this evening. That in the glass and some soda water in the other one. What's going on in this chat? Let me get back to where we were. Frank's just talking about over in Limburg that if you spent some in the tent, that got a nickname that is not repeated here. And he's telling James, I was pulled a Klein leash from 73, some Broras, and a Klein leash from the 50s. Fucking hell. Like, honestly, don't make us jealous over here. Hi, exactly, James. Speechless. Absolutely brilliant. And Hamish had the Chichibu for the first time. What Chichibu was it, Hamish? Because I find with Chichibu, it's great. It's good spirit, but it can go all over the place. There's one bottle out just now though that is absolutely it's pricey, 240, 250. On the way, the 2024 on the way, I think it is, and it's the flow maltings, and it's fully Chichibu's first proper flow maltings malt that they've put out. And it was one of the best drams I had at the show, the whiskey show last year. I've just put a small bit of the Miko to a tub, opened it this week, so it's second or third pour from the bottle. What do you think? I had it at the distillery last summer, and it was good. I found it good. I found it a bit. I'm trying to remember exactly where I placed it. I found it a wee bit Port Charlotte-y, if I remember correctly, in that wheelhouse. Dutch Juror's got the Living Souls 99 plus 1, which is by all accounts an 18 Lecheg. Yeah, I'm so tempted by that, and I'm also tempted. They've put out a Bal Blair this week. They've put out a 40-year-old blend, and they've put out a 30-year-old Dumbarton, and you don't see a lot of Dumbarton, and I don't know if there's a reason for that, but it kind of piqued my interest. But the 40-year-old one sounds amazing as well. They've came out the gates quite strong, and then they've came even further. I feel like they've kind of pushed on even further with it. Frank's trying to convince Jeff Whisky to make it to Limburg next year as well. I think we're all trying, I think it's definitely a big one. And we're going to come on about upcoming festivals and situations. Don't worry, we will talk about that. But for now, just welcoming everybody in. Hamish is saying it was a 12-year-old bourbon barrel first fill, 65%. Good age. Good age as well. Was it their own bottling, or was it I don't know if Adelphi's done a 12-year-old or whatever. So, as we've got a guest coming, I'm going to just jump straight in to the news. Does that work for everybody? So, here's the news. Hello, it's me again. The news with no music. Busy week this week, and good and bad news. We'll kick off first with the news about the cask investment front. It's a bit somber. It's not ideal. But we knew it was coming. So Cask 88 and another whose name escapes me, but they were sister companies, has kind of done a runner, done a bunk, shut down the operations. Apparently $80 million worth £60 million valuation. How much of that was true or not, we don't know. A lot of frantic people ringing up a lot of warehouses this week trying to get their barrels that they own because of the company's just gone, and there's no comment. And it's been reported, it's been on BBC News, it's been on quite a lot of the internet news sites, it was on Forbes and stuff like that. I think we're the ones on this, you guys know. And I've always said to people when they've asked me, like non-whiskey people, should we invest? I've seen this advert about a cask and stuff. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Nobody's shifting. No one's going to do you a favour and give you like an $8,000 barrel that's going to be worth $500,000 in 5 years. Come on, and it was I've been at some events, and Phil Thompson was very vocal one about this and stuff. And the takeaway I got was, if you don't have a PO, you don't have a purchase order with your barrel and your name on it, you don't have a barrel. And those cask companies, BBC did the documentary about it. More and more people are trying to rally behind it. I know Whiskey Barons put out a kind of plea to kind of unify people to do it as well. Look, it's sad. There's going to be a lot of people, and we were talking about it last week, a lot of people sitting on negative equity with barrels that they own, never mind people who have money invested in nothing. And it's really sad. So not the best news, but probably the most topical, and we hate to say it, I hate to say I told you so in the community, but we do know that. And I know that there's been some pushback as well, that at Whiskey Live there was cask investment companies and stuff like that, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think they should be really associating with that vibe. So no good, no great, but what can you do? We've tried to warn people for years, and the next couple of years is going to be rough. It's going to be rough for a lot of people as they find out they don't have anything. Moving on from that, brighter news. It's currently Spirit of Speyside, as we're aware, and as my rants went on about it last week, and the more I looked into it, maybe it's been a wee bit unfair, but it's been quite intriguing seeing the mix of people that have went to Spirit of Speyside versus a Limburg versus other festivals that are coming up. I think you need a wad of cash, and it looks like that from the pictures and stuff I've been seeing. No disrespect to the people that are working up there and doing the job, and it's fantastic and what an event, and of course I would love to go. I think we would all love to go. But I was explaining it to a friend yesterday. Doesn't know much about whiskey, doesn't know much about the region, the geography of that area, and I showed him the map, and then I explained that, like, getting from there to there and there to there, you can't walk, you obviously can't drive if you're drinking, and the transport's very limited. And he's like, why don't the organisers organise like just like constant movement, buses and shuttles and that? And I was like, oh no, they've put out a bus timetable. So I don't know if anybody knows any different to that, but it looks like a fantastic event. Some of the bottles I've seen already exclusive to it, and places opening up and that. So I hope anybody that's there, I hope has a fantastic time. I hope everybody that works it has a fantastic time. Yes, I am jealous I'm not there. Of course I am. But on the flip side, it's still the one that it just itches my brain a little bit about what they do price-wise. But then next after that, we're coming up to Campbelltown Fest. There's not been much. I think most things for Campbelltown has been announced. I know quite a few of you guys are going to be at Campbelltown. Bottlings that will come out, most of them have been announced. Everything looks really positive. Then after that, we obviously have, I'm going to murder this, Fashila, Isla Whiskey Festival. And as you may see, they have announced, well, there's loads of bottles coming out, but the two that stood out for me was the Lagavulin and Killila. And I took notes on this because I kind of had to, so that I got it right, because you can't be saying stuff and just making it up. So obviously they are releasing a 15-year-old Lagavulin and an 8-year-old refill Killila. The Lagavulin is a Moscatel de Malaga cask finish at 15 years old. It's bottling at 55.7, and the only tasting notes I could get was it goes sweet and spicy and peaty. And the Killila is an 8-year refill plus PX plus Oloroso casks, finished in Colombian oak, and that gives it a mysterious and sweet and smoky flavour as well at 55.8%. And now the Lagavulin is a bargain price of £240 RRP, and the Killila is a bargain price of an 8-year-old at £110 RRP. RIP, you know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one to swallow. I don't know what they're thinking, to be honest. I think we know it. It's been going on long enough that they're going to keep doing that. Don't know if anybody's running to get that, but I just thought it was worth noting because they're two ones that used to be, people were waiting for those releases year on year. I would say up until maybe 5 years ago, probably COVID, and then it just started creeping up and creeping up. So no ideal at all. And on that note, the Macallan has released 2 new editions in honour of Glasgow's finest, Charles Rennie Mackintosh. And again, I've written down the press release here. So you have Art is the Flower, which is the wide non-age statement, and then you have the Tree of Life, of which is the 40-odd-year-old fancy decanter one. I don't have I couldn't find a price online for that. I think it's in the tens of thousands. It's something mental. And the Art is a Flower is £800 for the no-age statement. Matured in sherry seasoned European oak casks. Oh no, that's a decanter, sorry. Matured in, yeah, that's it. Matured in sherry oak, I'm right. Seasoned European oak casks expressing notes of raisin and fig, polished oak, cherry, almonds, orange and treacle, £800. It's beautiful to look at. Being Glaswegian, Charles Rennie Mackintosh obviously is a big hero in our part of the world. But just, I'm not taking an £800 gamble on a bottle. It's not going to get opened anyway. Who are we kidding on? But it looks beautiful. It does look beautiful, and I know some people have been invited to buy it already, and some went to battle. It'll be interesting to see how they do on auction, because that's where they all end up, except for the collectors. I think there's going to be quite a few people holding their cash on that one. And that's kind of the quick whiz of whisky news, barring one, which was the Glasgow Whisky Festival. Tickets went on sale today. 11 o'clock, I was there. I was at swimming with my daughter, and I was waiting, and 11 came, and I refreshed, and couldn't buy the tickets, and I refreshed, and you couldn't buy the tickets, and I refreshed, and you couldn't buy the tickets, and then the 4th time I refreshed, it came up the tickets, and I managed to get, I got 4 for me and my friends, because I was like the designated person to do it, for session 1. So I was delighted. Wasn't so delighted at the £4.50 booking fee per ticket, because I'm booking 4 tickets at once. I'm paying for the 4. I'm paying 1 delivery fee, but I have to pay an individual booking fee for each ticket. That was a bit of pain in the arse, because that was in an extra 20 quid just for the sake of it. So that left a wee bit of a negative taste, because in my head I was like, okay, that comes to this amount of money, fine, pay it. And then it was, no, actually it's more than that. So it was over 200 quid for the 4 tickets. But really excited. But the reason I said about the beginning is because quite a few people logged on and said they weren't available yet, and just assumed, all right, I'll get them later. And then they came on and they sold out completely. So there's quite a few people still searching for session 1 tickets, is always the case. But session 2 eventually sold out as well. It's going to be a busy one. It's going to be a really busy one. But really looking forward to it. I think we all are. And so that's kind of the quick whirlwind whistle-stop tour of the news this week. There's plenty of other news, but we'll talk about it throughout the night anyway. Don't want to bore you too much. Right, so I'm going to catch up with the chat, and then hopefully we will be having our guest appearing once we've caught up with the chat. Have a wee look. Where were we? We were... You'll need to excuse me as I read through this. There we go. So, Hamish was saying the Chichibu was the 12-year-old, and then he mentioned it was also an original bottling. Billy, not at home tonight. Where are we up here? Let me find out at home tonight. So the only thing I have available was Bell's Blend. Drinkable, but not more. First whiskey I've tasted for 2 weeks. Oh, mate, I hope you'd... Well, at least you're feeling better enough to have it. There's worse than Bell's. There honestly is. Bell's is fine. Get on with it. PX, I need to know how that is. I'm really intrigued by that Bill Blair 10. Because I've not seen the independent Bill Blair for a while. Maybe I've just not been looking for it. But really want to know how that is. Frank, was offered to take half a bottle of Living Souls 99 home, but as it's great polluted, I took half a bottle of 1970s 22-year-old Milton Doff instead. Good on you, mate, because it would have just been poured down the drain, I'm sure, instead. And then where are we at? I'm happy I picked up the bottle, but fair enough. Hamish did the tasting at the Bordergarten Country Inn last night in the fringes of the Speyside Festival era. How do you find it, Hamish? Is somebody up there doing that stuff, right? And obviously you've heard me rant about this for weeks, about the pricing and stuff. What's the mix of people? Like, is it moneyed? Is it people that have got drivers to take them about? And by moneyed, I mean you need when you go to Speyside the best of times, you need deep pockets. Is it quite a different crowd? Is it quite an older crowd? Is it quite a foreign crowd? Is it a lot of locals? I'd be really intrigued to know. And then, yeah, the Diageo bottles, was it 240? And yeah, Lagavulin's 240 and the Killela's 110. Frank's going to be attending both of them. Campbelltown and Fishel are not interested in the bottles and fish, especially the Diageo ones. Possibly the Ardnahoe or Colholman if the prices are normal. Yeah, exactly. I think one of the beauties I like these new distilleries opening up and stuff is if they're savvy enough, they'll push out product that's a little bit cheaper and more affordable for people to pick up at Fishel, rather than these stupid. It's the same as when you go to the distilleries and it's hand fills that are costing you an absolute fortune. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody needs that. Give us something that we can enjoy and we can drink and crack open. James does like the sound of the Kahlua. Yeah, but like it'll be an interesting one. It will be, and it's Kahlua. You know, it's hard to mess up, but 110 quid for an 8-year-old is still 110 quid for an 8-year-old Kahlua. Because you're planning on going to attend Fish and leave with 0 bottles. And Billy saying ridiculous prices from Diageo. It's just, I think they've kind of backed themselves into a corner where that's just the price that they have to do now. As usual, especially Lagavulin releases their fish oil bottles in huge amounts, making a trip to Ireland not necessary. Correct. You don't need to go to pick up some of these bottles now. I was looking at the Speyside stuff, and there was some exclusive ones that you had to be there to get. Fair play. Like, absolutely, that's what you should do. Do a small, finite amount, single cask, single barrel, or quick couple of barrels. You know, like, that's it. Not 15,000, 20,000 out ton. Because your session 1 as well. Thought the same thing about the booking fee, but only paused me for a second. I was worried I'd miss them if I didn't check it fast. The same, yeah. You have to suck it. What can you do? You can't protest it. Appreciate that, Frank. Yeah, I just thought it just makes the stream a little bit more structured. It gives me a wee bit of structure. The other streamers have quizzes and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'd rather do something that I'm interested in, I think you guys are interested in, and we all kind of know the same stuff, but there's always stuff that drops. I think last week and the week before, me reminding about tickets going on sale and stuff like that helped people remember, so I'm definitely going to keep it in. It just gives a nice wee bookend to it, and also people can jump on. Mike B's back in. Cheers, I just dropped in on the back end of my UK trip back to Cali on Monday. Oh mate, I hope I've just seen your next comment further down. Unfortunately, I caught a nasty cold during the trip, which interfered with my Scotland trip. Made it to Brora, but had no taste, so I had to take away the 44 as a sample. Oh, oh mate, like, that's a nightmare. That's an absolute, it's sod's law, isn't it? Like, you go on your holidays and it's the first time you kind of release a bit of stress, and it just feels like you get knocked out by something every time. But I hope you're still having a wonderful time. The weather's been fantastic for you, to be fair. Like, the weather down here in London, we've had like 24, 25 every day this week, and about 21 today, and then tomorrow's 12. and then it's like 13, 14, and it's just a weekend like that again. So could have been worse. It could have been worse. Danish mix of people, 3 locals, 2 from Hawaii, and 15 Bulgarians. So have all came on, en masse, which is great, fantastic, like, as it should. But I've been intrigued to know how many of, like, well, I know us Scottish people are terrible travelling amongst Scotland, but of the UK whiskey lot, I've not seen many people. I've seen journalists go up, but that's been it. It's 50 quid for charcuterie, Annock 12, Fable Glen, we're getting Signature Rentage, but mate, that, it's no bad at all, 50 quid for that, is it? And you're self-hosting it. Got to pay for your time as well. And a nice mix. Nice proper Speyside kind of about. Some food. PX on the Ball Blair. This is it. Light, fresh tropical notes, jolly vibrant orange palette. The finish is all about the cask, buttery, creamy with soft cognac, light linger, 85 out of 100. Looking forward. Brilliant, 85 out of 100. So good. This is a pretty good score. I know we always look for like 90s, but 85 out of 100 is fantastic. And Billy's looking forward to the new releases from Ardnamurchan in Norway next week, which include Ardnamurchan Madeira and the Mezcal. Mate, you're in for a treat. I've not tried the Mezcal only because I'm not really into Mezcal casks. But by all accounts, people that have tried it have said they really enjoy it. Let me just check on state of play. Checking in with Marcos. Make sure he's good to come on. See, you see other people do this with guests, and it's again like a swan. Talking about you, Aquaviti and Jeff Whisky, and you're bringing people in. None of this fanning about with things like me. So, as I said, that was the news segment. I've got some other stuff coming. There was actually something I wanted to show you tonight, and I forgot to lift it from the kitchen. I just realised that it's sitting in the house. That I was going to give you a sneak peek of. I might see if I can get, if maybe I can get it down somehow. Maybe my wonderful wife. Let me just message. Is there any chance? There we go. Let's see if she'll. I don't know if she'll be able to. I'm asking a lot. But we should any second now. If I do this right, get that there. And if I do this, and then if I do this, we should have, and then I'm going to press a button, and this is where it might all break down or might not, but we should have Marcos.
There we go. There we go. How you doing, man?
Let me turn you up. Test. 1, 2, 3. Go.
Can you hear me? All good? All good?
We've got you. There you go. Coming through live. Fantastic. Look at that shelf behind you as well. You work for North Star.
Right.
You hear me?
I can hear you perfect. Can you hear me okay?
Aye, you're good. The chat will soon tell us as well. There's a slight delay in the chat, but mate, brilliant to have you. I am going to move you. I'm going to move the chat window that I look at up here, and I'm going to move you up there, and now I'm going to just be looking directly at you, so that's really awkward. There we go. Perfect.
Flashing. There we go.
Well, thanks for joining Saturday Night Drams. First guest we've had.
Is that better like that?
The light's good, mate, if you've not got glasses, but if you need your glasses, Don't worry about it. Or you can move the light. If you move the light to the side. If you have it at
Nah,
the
we'll
side.
you should see the setup. It's hilarious. The balance, this ring light and phone. And you'd laugh if you seen it. I'll take a picture later.
You need to post it on Instagram as a story once you get a chance. But no, thank you so much for joining me. Really appreciate it. We'd spoke about it a couple of weeks ago when I'd mentioned that you were watching and you messaged me and said, look, get me on. I'll come on. Which was fantastic for you to reach out and do that. We've obviously caught up before. We've done the podcast, which weirdly has been doing this for the last month.
Okay.
And it's getting views all over the world and they're watching it. Nobody's commenting. And I'm like, is it because they don't understand it? Is it like a school? Has some school decided they're going to use our podcast as like an English lesson in Glaswegian and translate? But it's taken off. So there's an interest there because I think they're finding it through searching for North Star, which is really interesting, and also Whisky podcast. But no, I think it's really encouraging as well that people are seeking these out. So it's brilliant.
It was good fun. It was good fun that day. It was and right before the. I don't actually know how we done really well with having the headsets because people were walking in and they're like, "What are these two guys? What are these two guys doing?" And I seen my friend Julie and she's like, "What are you up to?" I was like, "I'm landing on a 747 here." It's just because we had our crazy headsets on, but it was great. The pub was mobbed. It was mental.
Rand. It was the night before. For anybody not seen it, it was the night. It was in the mid. It was literally in the middle of the Bon Accord and the Friday night before the Glasgow Whisky Festival. So it was quiet. Obviously not. Everybody was rowdy and everybody was having a great time, including us. We had a great time. We had steak pie beforehand. Was it steak pie we had beforehand?
Steak pie, we had the wee steak pie and it was banging. So can't go wrong with steak pie in the bond. So.
Fantastic. I'm just looking at the chat here. You're getting a very warm welcome in the chat. Let me pull up and check in. We've got Petehead Frank from the Netherlands saying hello. James is saying there's a little bit of an echo on your end, but I think that might be on my end as well, a wee bit. But it doesn't sound a lot of echo. Everybody's saying a lot of echo. That you're double distilled. That might be on my end as well. Let me see what I can do. Right.
Hear me a wee bit better now.
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
How's that for everybody else? They've checked. Wee bit better.
Let's see. It's just it's because there's the delay and the broadcast delay. So when I look at the chat, it's normally about 10-15 seconds behind. They've missed that brilliant intro chat as well that we've just had. So hopefully, let me see if I can maybe. I know what it might be. I'll see if I can fix it this way. Still echoes. Hang on. Let me see. I'll keep talking, guys. So you've got set of dead audio. I'm going to turn that off. Let's see. Have a wee chat there, Marcus. Let's see if that makes any difference.
There we go. How's it sounding a bit better?
It's saying that we must reconnect you. So I'm going to disconnect you and then you dial back in.
Right.
Okay, mate.
Right. No worries.
Sorry about that, guys. Thanks for flagging it up in the chat. We're hearing Marcus loud and clear and double. So we'll try that again. As I said, this was going to happen. Let's try again. We'll get him in. We'll assign him. Fling it on. Right, let's see.
Righty. Sound a wee bit better.
We'll soon find out. But if that one's not worked, then it might be a case of low music. That's not the setting. We've got that. Audio. Let's see if anybody can see. I've also got this option. We'll wait and see. But anyway, mate, happy Saturday. What have you got in the glass now?
What I've got, I told myself, it was actually something I got at auction a few months ago, and I mistakenly left it out for a birthday party, and kind of went through a bit of it. It's 1970s Johnny Walker Black Label.
1970s Johnny Walker Black Label. Fuck, I think I've got 90s maybe, but no, and it's I think it's a green label, but that must be. How you finding it?
All right, okay. It's pretty tasty. It is pretty tasty. I think that this one was bought for the Singapore Airlines. So it's just like it's got a bit of oily next to it. And I just think it's to be fair. It's so old school blend. They're just like so much more going on.
We've still got the echo, Marcus. Have you got headphones?
I'm going to try. Yeah, I'm going to try and see if I can get headphones.
Let's do that. Dial back in once you get sorted. We'll try that.
Right, give me 9 seconds. Right,
no worries, mate. There we go. We're slowly finding a solution, guys. I appreciate your time here as we try and troubleshoot it. This is what happens when you go live on a Saturday night. Thank God Codger's pissed. Cheers. I'm just checking. Let me see. I've got nothing going there. I've not echoed, I believe you guys said. So on my end, I don't know if there's much I can do. I can do a bit of troubleshooting. Let me see. Guest echo. Nah, that's for me. Yeah, I think it's going to be a case of echo cancellation on the sound meter. This is what you tune in for, guys. IT troubleshooting. That's the attitude, guys. You're no rush. I'll have another dram. Exactly. Right, let me see. Done that. Yeah, it could. Maybe he does. It could be because he's. I wonder if it's the way the app works. Is it hot in the lodge? It's bloody sweating. Whose great idea was it to paint a wooden lodge black, south facing, in the south of England? Wasn't it my idea? Tell you that. Let's see. I'll enable that. Does that work? So then I do that. It's no my sound though, so I'm not sure. I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'm having a look at this. Turn off. I'll do that. And I'll save it, and we'll bring them in. Let's see how that works.
Right. Can you hear me a wee bit better?
I can hear myself in your room.
Right, okay. That's not good. Right, let's have a look.
Do you have, somebody in the chat asked, do you have a YouTube video open? Do you have this live open as well as the app?
No.
Okay.
Don't think of that. Close it.
Let's see.
Right.
Yeah, they can hear. Let me try this. And then if I would be. Evening, John. We're just having some IT troubleshooting at the moment, so do make sure you pour yourself a large one while we sort this out.
Right.
Let me try and send you. I'm wondering if maybe I'll send you a different link.
Nah, maybe that might work.
We'll try that. Right. Give me 2 seconds.
I love live TV.
Right. See, guys, like you've just got to roll with the punches, don't you? What can you do? Got that. Save that. Do that. Why has it done that? That's what I need. Copy that. Go here. Go there. Go there. Put that in there. Let's see. Let's see how we do. One more time. Peterhead's just pulled a 13-year-old Kalila, a Delphi. Let me come back to this. We'll add them in. Assign. Guess one. And then if we do that.
Right. Does it sound a wee bit better?
To me, mate, I don't hear any echo on my side, but it's the broadcast. It seems to have the echo, which is odd because I'm not sure how we troubleshoot that. I'm saying if it's recording his voice, that means your guest has to wear headphones, or you need to make sure that audio processing is enabled in your interview mode settings. Yeah. So we'll see. Codger wants to sing the Fields Off and Rye. There is not a chance, mate, tonight of all night, that we shall be singing that the day before a match tomorrow. Jeffrey says, when the echo happens on radio calls and shows, the host tells the caller to lower their volume. Yeah, but I don't. But yeah, it could have been that. It might have been that. There's still an echo on your end, Marcos.
Right.
James says it's so weird, but we'll get there hopefully.
Is that a wee bit better now?
Let's have a conversation. In your glass, you've got. Let's try this again. You've got the Johnny Walker.
1970s. Bottled for exclusively for the Singaporean early.
And
Is there still a wee echo?
This is the thing. It, as I said, it takes the time to come through. Well, I'm pulling, mate. I'm on the.
All right, okay.
The South Star Space side, which I don't know what it is. And I was hoping that maybe you could shine some light on if you knew. 10 hogsheads.
Sherry Hogshead. So I found this out actually when I went over to the Netherlands that it is Secret Space. It's a Manickmore.
Manickmore. Fine.
Manickmore.
There we go.
Never.
Would never have said that because I don't know enough Manickmore to even know what Manickmore would taste
We
like.
done a Manickmore for Series 23, and it was matured in a red wine barrique, 12 years old, 54% ABV, and it was banging. It was delicious. Red wine can be funny. Some people can hate it. You either love it or you hate it. I think it works really well with peat red wine. Hence the Long Row Red Series that you've got there, for example. Some banging drams that come out there. Probably some of the best stuff that Long Row do, but it wasn't too astringent. It wasn't too drying. The acidity, it was just really juicy and fresh, and just the perfect time for the maturation. And I absolutely adored it, and the colour was just phenomenal. It looked pink in the glass. It's just stunning. It was
especially for something like that you're trying to entice people because, like, as we said, Manickmore, it's a drinker. People drink Manickmore, do you know what I mean? But it's not something that people go, oh, there's a Manickmore, I'm grabbing it. You've got like a Dalyoun or something where people are like, give me a Dalyoun or give me a Ben Rinnes or whatever. So the colour can, I assume, help the perception with people. We've got a wee comment there. You mentioned you were balancing your camera, your phone on something. Is it direct? Yes. Is the bottom on something?
No.
Cause I was wondering if maybe it was
No, it's like raised up. So
It seems, I think everybody's all right. Everybody can handle it. They're saying the
can you
info's
handle
clear
it?
enough. They're going to put up with you, mate. They're putting up with you.
Right, okay, that's
You
good.
need to get the. You need to
Hopefully,
get the.
hopefully I
We need
know.
to send you the headset.
I need a headset. I've got one, but it's funnily enough, it's one I just use for if I'm playing Xbox. So, in modern phones nowadays don't have,
You can't
a
plug into
jack.
it.
So,
No, it's
okay.
mad. I've got hopefully you can see the chat that I'm putting up on screen from Martinez. He's saying curiosity. Whose idea was it labeling name? And I'm assuming he's talking about the South Star there. But if not, you can come back and
He's talking good questions, talking curiosity. So, right, we've got a curiosity bottle. Right. And he's dropping the ball there. Better than one. But I don't have a curiosity bottle there. Aha, I do. Right. One sec. So this. There we go. This is curiosities. So if you can all see there, so this is a wee bit obscurities and curiosities range. So this was Ian's idea. It's kind of like, so you have the North Star bottlings, which most will know. This is an Oslo bottle. The reason why Ian came up with the Oslo bottle is he always like the caddy bottles in the hand. They always felt pretty good, pretty premium. But because Ian used to work in bars and his dad used to own a pub as well, with tall bottles they go to the back, and with an Oslo bottle they go to the front. It's quite smart, so you have your visualisation there. But the obscurities, it was something a little bit different when he found something a little bit unusual. He would bottle it under that range. More, I would say, the obscurity range now is kind of direct to the consumer. So if you go into North, you see some of the crazy stuff that Ian's put up recently. It's like 26-year-old Springbanks. Probably one of the best rams I've tried this year, which was a 1972 Lechake that was bottled in 1994. Absolutely outstanding ram, David. If you get a chance to ever try, if you come to the North Star HQ, right, hopefully we'll have a wee bit of I only tried it a few weeks ago. I was like, Ian, this has been, why have you held out with me so long? But it's absolutely banging. It's fantastic. But yeah, it's something a little bit different. I would say the labels are almost like kind of like The Greatest Showman. It's like the bearded woman, the two-headed woman. You kind of got like a guy there where he's throwing the weights about as well. Circus weights. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool range and some banging stuff in it as well.
hopefully that answers Martina's question. And I think while you were doing that explanation, and I was listening, mate, and I heard the opportunity to taste the whiskey, and that did zoom me back into you. I fixed the echo. I've done it. The echo is now gone.
Awesome.
So we'll see. This happened. I don't know if you saw the whiskey roundtable I hosted, and it was with Vin PF, No Nonsense Whiskey, and the two wonderful Grail girls, and that right up until we went live was the most. It was pulling my hair out, and there was stuff going wrong, and it's back again. It's back again. Let me. I think I know what it is. I think I can control it.
We're getting there, guys. I've got my Guinness in hand.
I know what it is. I think I've sorted it.
I've got a wee Guinness, so you're all good.
They're saying it's back again, but I know why. So I think I fixed it. Let me know, guys, in the chat. It should have been fixed, and he's on the Guinness. Mate, I'm off the beer. Otherwise, I would have been joining you. I just enjoy it too much, and that my body just absorbs it. I need to stop absorbing it. So I'm off it for a while for the pain, and I've got PX came in there.
When I seen you, David, and you're like, I'm on the the water tonight, and I thought, oh, and I was listening to you, and I'm running downstairs, and I got my wee nitro surge, getting that ready, like pouring the Guinness and stuff. Right, that's me all sorted. Get my Johnny Walker poured. Ah, there you go. Brilliant. Great wee bit of
Normally,
kit.
mate. Normally, my daughter was in here earlier, and she was using it, and she's not even 2 yet, and she was going. "Ah, la, 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 la." I was like, "Aye, fine. Get used to the smell of it, sweetheart. That's it. You slowly ease you in. We'll fix it. I know what the
Right.
the problem is with the echo. It's the levels as well on this end. So it was partially me. I would say it's majority my fault. So apologies, everybody. I could hear him perfect. There's no been a problem on my end. So that's the problem.
Good.
I'm going through the chat to see everybody's just talking about echo. Echo. Codger. Codger actually has an actual thing. Is the rumour true that the Italian exports were a bit special back in the day? Now, Codger, you're going to have to give us a wee bit more than that, because I'm not sure what Italian exports you're talking about. If you're talking about that, and yes, Frank, I've written it down. I.e., I'm just not going to change the settings ever, so we'll be fine. We'll be absolutely fine with that. So we're talking about Manic Moor red wine cask. If no one heard, basically this Secret Speyside isn't a red wine cask, but this is a Manic Moor. It's delicious. I'm drinking it because it's Spirit of Speyside this week. Mate, have you, Marcus, have you ever been to Spirit of Speyside?
I've never been to it. I would like to go, and I think what you were saying beforehand about transportation, I have heard that a few people that have been wanting to go have always kind of been really concerned about that. I said to
It
somebody
seems
about
like
why
it feels an obvious fix. Like there's a way of fixing it, and you just put on like a few shuttle buses, not even like coaches, but just shuttle buses. But it's more, because it's no easy from us lowlanders, so to speak. You can it's fine getting out, but then if you're no driving, then you've got to take a train up to Aviemore,
yeah.
or you've got to go up to Aberdeen and across. You know what I mean? Like it's no, or Inverness and down, and there's a lot of like higgledy-piggledy of it, and that's why I'm just like, there must be. It's such a great opportunity, and with everything that's happening at the moment, we want to get more people into whiskey and stuff. I think Hamish, who's in the chat as well, he's up there. He does the tastings and stuff up there. It'd be great to understand it. Like, why is there not been maybe it's just money, but then surely it pays for itself.
I think that like as you say, the transportation is going to be an issue getting around there. There is a lot going on, and public transport, is going to be an issue from distillery to distillery. I think that's why the Hamilton Malt Festival in the next few weeks is so attractive to people, because literally everything is within walking distance. Everything. If you've ever been to the Campbelltown Malts Festival before, I haven't been to the Fish, I haven't been to Speyside, so I can't say definitively what's the best. But for me, in my opinion, I think Campbelltown Malts Festival is so much for the whiskey drinker. It's fantastic what they do. It's very well priced for bottles as well. They've now started to make them kind of 35 cl bottles for if you're going to Springbank, what have you not, as well. So the price is a little bit more accessible. That's what that to me is whiskey. You should be rewarded when you go to a distillery or go during a fair or festival. Not saying give the whiskey away, but make it an accessible, fair price. And I think that's definitely something that the distilleries are doing up there. Springbank's probably my favourite distillery along with Kalila. So it's a win-win when you're going there, get your bottles, and then the price as well, so you crack them open. It's everybody's happy.
And I think that's the big push into of Campbelltown, and we can move on to Campbelltown as well. That's why people get so again. It's a bit like they were talking about Limburg last week.
It looked amazing. That looked amazing, Limburg.
Looks unbelievable, and again, it's a drinkers' festival where okay, it's different. It's no distilleries. It's a festival, isn't it? But Campbelltown is, you got a road, and that's you. Like, there's a wee few offshoots and whatever, but you get a road full of drinkers, full of people wanting to enjoy themselves. Yes, it's a bollock to get to Campbelltown, but you're there, you're done. Your biggest concern is how far a walk back to your accommodation, depending on how late you booked.
That's
Looking, I was trying to work out if I could get there for a day or night, like one. There's a few like actual things that are just not going to make that possible. But I looked, and I was like, I've pulled it off. I found a way. I found two options. One was fly up Wednesday night, stay in Glasgow at my mum's, get up early, get the flight in Thursday, get the flight out Friday. And I was like, that's fine. The other option was take the sleeper train and then but you couldn't afford the cabin. So it was like sit on a seat upright to Glasgow, you'd get in at 6 in the morning, then jump across to the airport, get the 8 o'clock flight, and fly in and fly out. And then I was just like, who am I kidding on? Like, what? Like, I have responsibilities. I have a life. I can't just go. I'm just popping up the road, then I'm jumping on a microplane, then I'm going to get absolutely like full of whiskey, not drunk, drink responsibly. And then if I miss the flight, then sit on a bus for 4 hours.
Oh, that bus journey's fun, David. Though that's a good bus journey. I've done it. I've done it many a time. I've got up at when I used to stay in Glasgow. Mum and dad were like, "You're a bit of a down parents. Like you're mental. Get up at like 20 to 6, right? Make your way down to Glasgow Central, down to the Cannon bus station. Sorry, Cannon bus station. On the bus just before 6 o'clock. 4 hours. Bus trip up. Stopping in Inveraray. You know, you bathroom break, whatever. Bang. See, even the people that you meet on it, it's just brilliant. But I remember one thing. I went to Campbelltown. I've done the Barley Ball Tour. Fantastic. Brilliant tour. Like the in-depth of everything. Show you what they do local. Probably the best drams, best Springbank drams I've ever tried was a 22-year-old Hazelburn at that time. I think it's now 24. It's a cast sample they give you on it. Absolutely phenomenal. Just old school sherry. Just so gentle, fruity. So I've done all that. Make your bottle at the end. And I think it was a guy called Donald was taking me, and I went, right, do your bottle. And I went, I need to kind of go. And he went, why? I went, I've got the Cadenheads blending session afterwards. Now, bearing in mind you've had a few drams throughout the day, right? Go and do the blending session. I was going to do it the day before. So again, responsible drinking, but I was going to do it the day before. But they cancelled on me, says it's not ready yet. Because I didn't know I was going to be the first person to do it. And I was like, this is really cool, right? So you go in and they're like, do you want your face on it? I was like, definitely, like, get your face on it, you know, all that daftness. 8 drams later, after doing, your blending, your tasting, whatever, I had to get the bus at 5 o'clock back home. I made the bus, and do you know what? I woke up and I was fresh as a daisy. It's fine, but it's just about, just trying me bits here and there. And I bought I was getting out something. I said, they're blended malt. So it's good wee drama actually. So,
Fantastic.
as my girlfriend says to me, she went, I've de-aged you because I look about, tells me I look about 40 and that bottle. So fair enough.
Fantastic, mate. On that note, I have just poured myself my second drama this evening, which is...
Oh man, that's brilliant. That is fantastic.
I knew you were a fan of it. I've had this a long time. This was one of the first auction buys I did. So this was bottled May 2018. 57%. Now it says aged 4 years. Is it for...
I think
I'm assuming
that.
I'm going to assume it's Glen Scotia. But it's just a lovely dram. And I thought, I'll get that one on the go purely for... We're talking about Campbelltown, aren't we? So Campbelltown Festival, and I think there's a few people in the chat that's going to be going down there, and I know that you're going to be running an event there. Or well, you're part of an event, aren't you, with the Walt Whisky guys?
Yeah, so we've got a lot. I'm just going to say this to people, right? I can't really go into much detail. I'll go into detail about the events, right? But please keep your eyes out for what's going to come for Campbelltown, because it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be really cool. I'm like bumming this right up, but I'm really excited for it. And I'm just so eager to tell everybody what we've got planned. But we've got on the Tuesday, we have a tasting. I think it was about 80, 90 people with What Whisky. So Kate Watt, absolutely amazing. Maybe the first time I went to Campbelltown, Kate and Mark, I said, oh, can I come and visit the HQ? They took me in. Got a tasting later on in the day, walk in, just thought I'd meet them and, say hello. Like 5 bottles sitting on the table. This is cool. And they were just great. They're just fantastic. They're brilliant people. And decadent drinks. So Julie. So I'm doing a tasting with Julie and Kate. So I'm snooking because you've got two absolute, just amazing women in the whiskey industry that have been doing it since I was a baby. So they're amazing. We've got that Tuesday. Then on the Wednesday, we've got a charity tasting for the Campbelltown Sailing Club. So amazing couple done it last year, this year started, and that was brilliant. Some phenomenal drams there as well. Thursday, we're going to be doing a wee bar takeover. I'll not say yet what we're going to do, but it's going to be fun. As you can imagine, North Star, it's going to be a lot of music, taking over the DJ set, and it'll just be banging. And then on the Saturday, we've got the What Whisky Day, so that's pretty cool as well. So there's lots happening, but there'll be some very cool announcements coming soon, which you will see. And I'm so buzzing for it, David. It's really, really cool.
I'm no speculating. I'll let chat speculate. I'm sure it'll be just like you're going to unveil a partnership with Springbank for their cask strength. You've got your own cask, and you're going to be doing a 12-year-old for £45 to everybody at the festival. So if you see Marcos there, he's carrying that about in his back pocket. No, obviously I have no idea what it's going to be, but it's really breaking my heart, mate, to be honest. But circumstances have meant that even if I was going this year, I wouldn't be able to go because my wife's grandmother passed away, and calling me like ignorant, but funerals used to take a week, but it seems now that funerals take quite a lot longer to nail down a date. And so that week, bang in the middle, the Wednesday, is the funeral. So as much, even if I'm kind of like glad I can't go. I wasn't going because otherwise I would have been pulling out. But mate, that all of that sounds fantastic. The tasting, and it got me thinking, just when you were saying about Julie and Kate and that, it's so funny how like us as a whiskey community and everybody in the Echo is back. Oh, for God's sake. Honestly, it's like I'm trying to fly. I'm trying to build a plane as I'm flying it. We'll get there, guys. We will get there. But my echo isn't. So I'm going to keep talking, and then we'll see what everybody says. You're talking about Kate and Julie and that there. All of us take it for granted, like just how great women in whiskey are. And I think it's something that I don't think we should be praised for it. I don't think that's the right thing for it. I think it's more just, there's no doubt anybody going to that festival will not think twice about women in whiskey and the women leading it or whatever. So it's such a positive thing. But I do wonder if, like, and you were mentioning, obviously your girlfriend works in whiskey as well, and that, and people are trying to do more efforts around it. And I want, at Campbelltown, we know 99% of the people visiting are going to be guys, right? So it's going to be guys, and it's almost like, is there a job to be done of like, how do you bring more women into your tastings? I think that's where I'm trying to go with this. Of like, when you're doing tastings at places and stuff, and you're trying to encourage people to come along to tastings, maybe your same age women and stuff like that. I don't like whiskey. It'd be intriguing to know how you would do it, because I think what we're seeing brands do is brands try and do it by like beautifying the whiskey, try to make it seem very feminine. And it's like, no, you don't have to do that to attract women to whiskey, if that makes sense. It's more like, how do you bring them? And I assume it'd be like through palate and through taste and through experience and stuff like that. But it would just be really interesting from an industry side point of view of like, this is how, well, we don't approach it this way, or we do it this way, or it doesn't even come in at the thinking. We just put the whiskey out and hope Does that make sense? I'm not trying to trap you or anything like that,
No,
but
no,
it's just
no. I think that. Well, I mean, my partner works in whiskey, and I'm not just saying that because she can probably hear me, right? But her palate, like compared to mine, I'd like to think I've got a good palate. But I can say to Olivia, right, there's a glass, and she'll give me a tasting note straight away, and I'm like, this is phenomenal because scientifically, a woman has a better nose and palate than a man. They know that. That's why some of the best master blenders out there are females. I think that with whiskey, I think they should just make it. Don't let mansplain or anything like that. Just if a woman wants to get involved with whiskey, just treat her like anybody that gets into it. Just because you're not an old guy or you're a man or whatever, get them fired in and go for it. Make it so it's an accessible, fun place to be. I think that's probably the best way to do it, and then it will attract more people because I want so many people to get into whiskey. Bear in mind, David, I never drank any alcohol for 5 years, and now I'm a brand ambassador for an independent bottler, and I do need to pinch myself sometimes because I love it. I love what I do, and if it wasn't for whiskey, then I wouldn't have met all these amazing people. Julie, for example, she hates me saying, and I've said this before on stream, I call her my whiskey godmother, right? I love that woman. She's fantastic. She is just an industry legend. She's been doing it for years, and she knows her stuff, and she loves it. She loves Springbank, she loves what is it, Tomer, she loves an Imperial, like Easter stuff, right? And has tried some phenomenal rum. I just know. I think that I'm actually really, I'm really kind of with that tasting on Tuesday. Well, when we're there down on Tuesday, that's going to be another experience for me. Another thing I can tick off the list and go. I'm doing it with two amazing people, and it's not just because they're women; it's because they're banging at what they do.
and that's all you want, and I think your approach to it is correct, and I think weirdly it's almost an education piece about the palate and the nose because women are phenomenal at it, phenomenal. And like my wife says that she can't drink whiskey anyway, the majority of it, because she's gluten intolerant, so malted barley is just like kryptonite, which is quite unfortunate. um but I'll leave a glass out, like I'll leave something like that size it right overnight with nothing in it, and I'll leave it in the kitchen next to the sink, and she'll come down and she'll be like, say it was maybe, let's say it was the Aquilila, the North Star Aquilila, and I'll leave it overnight, and she'll come down and she goes, oh, the kitchen's stinking, it's fucking that whiskey. I'm like, that? What you talking about? Don't smell anything.
Well, it's funny because Olivia done that to me. I poured a dram of old antiquary, right? Where's the bottle? We've got it here. Where is it? Right, old school antiquary, but I love this. I just think the bottle's so old school, right? And I poured this and I left it at one side of the room, and she went, "Oh, that's green apples." Bearing in mind she's like another side of the room. I'm like, how can you? Huh? Like, I don't even know my name. Like, you've been able to tell me like smells of green apples. It's phenomenal. Again, just it's superpowers. That's it. It can only be because it's phenomenal. It does smell like green apples. You know.
I found one of the. I think I found a nut. So the echo goes, then the echo comes back. The echo goes. This is great. See for the listeners, there's people that watch this on replay and just listen to it like a podcast, and they're going to be like, this is like comical. Every time you talk, Marcus, I'm going to mute my mic, so it's going to seem quiet from our side, but that seems to fix it. Because I think for some reason, I don't know, I don't think it's the headphones, I don't know what's going on. So in case you think it goes very quiet all of a sudden when you're talking, it's just because the feedback will be stopping. So that's all that is. But as you said, we're talking about that. We diverged a wee bit away from that. The Campbelltown stuff sounds absolutely phenomenal. A fantastic week. And Dutch Jurors just came in with a question that I was going to lead in with as well, because I saw a post, and I think he's talking about the post of you and some old curmudgeon for the internet hanging out at your new HQ. So can you share some details about that?
Aye, okay. So Ralphie's cool. He's a good dude. Ralphie's been kind of, again, similar like the Bon Accord and Julie. when I started getting into the industry, and then I met him for the first time. And he had a lot of really nice kind words to say to me. And he's like, "You're going to do well, Mark. You're going to go far because you think outside the box and you're really eager and you're keen and you obviously love your whiskey." And I was like, "Wow, this is coming from a guy that's like been drinking whiskey for nearly 20 years, like on YouTube and what have you." To me, he's like the OG whiskey guy. That's in my opinion, right? Ralphie's the OG guy, right? And he sits in the bothy and he can be a bit divisive and whatever, but he knows his stuff. Um, and we just kind of get chatted, and yeah, and he's always had a lot of respect and a lot of time for Ian and with North Star. And I was showing him around the HQ, and he's worked with Ian before and done a few bottlings for him. We've done a North Star to the Bonner Club, a Kalila 10-year-old, which are really good dram. We also done was it a Glenrothes that we did? We've done a Glenrothes as well. We've done a couple of things with Alfie, but he's a good dude. But I wanted to show him round. But we'll have something coming later on in the year. So keep an eye on that as well. But we're pretty excited. I've had this in the plan for a wee while, so it'll be good. So keep your eyes peeled for that. That's going to be class.
I'm expecting the chat to go, "That's great. I really hope like they like find out more about what's coming and all that kind of stuff." And on the other hand, the PTSD is going. They're just going to go, "The echo's back. The echo's back." We've got another one here, which I think Hamish, Marcos maybe alluded to it, maybe, but we're not gonna. I don't know if he can say much about North Star are behind new distillery in Campbelltown. What's the timelines for opening? I think he's talking about his tastings this evening, maybe Hamish.
Just keep an eye out with Dalriata. It's all kind of top secret at the moment, as Ian tells me, but it's I'm excited for it. He's told me a few things. I was like, "Right, okay, we'll keep that. We'll keep that all hush hush." But yeah, Hamish, it's going to be cool when it happens. Let's put it that way. So just keep your eyes peeled.
Graham Drams has just came in and asked the same thing, pretty much. But I think, and he's kind of brought it to the point of what I think most people are thinking and being polite and saying like current whiskey climate's a bit all over the place. But I'm going to jump up to Martinez and say, he's like, "Can we visit North Star?"
If I say aye, if you contact me, if you could look at this week in a plug here. You contact me on social media at Whisky Marcos. I'll see what I can do about maybe coming, like, bringing a few people down to be the North Star HQ.
A wee bit
Sort something.
along the similar lines of like what Glasgow do.
Yeah. I mean, we're moving in. We're getting everything sorted, moving into a new HQ, and it's kind of wee things going on. But it's all systems go at the moment, and then of course Campbelltown Malts Festivals in a few weeks. So there's a lot been happening. It's been very busy. At North Star, let's put it that way. But it's exciting times. It's good to be a part of it. It's good to be. I like seeing things progressing. I mean, you know, when I met Ian the first time, and people were like, "Oh, you've got to meet Ian Croucher." And I went to one of his tastings at the Glasgow Whisky Club. I was just like, "This guy's just like knows his stuff, man." Bringing out some of these amazing drams. Wanted to chat to him. He done an Irish goodbye, and I never got to speak to him. And what he's done in the space, as I say, about 9 years, from literally a shed in his back garden to now, multiple warehouses. You've got Dalriata, he's indie bottling, and go back to like you were saying about the Campbelltown 4-year-old. That's ballsy when he brought that out. It is pretty of a ballsy move to bring out a 4-year-old Campbelltown, and it's really good. It's a cracking dram.
You would never in a million years say this is 4 years old.
I was going to go on to say with it, the first time I tried that is when I went to the Artisan in Wishaw, and I'd literally just started at North Star. And if anybody wants to try North Star, you need to go to Bonaccord. We've got a North Star there. Pot still as well in Glasgow, but if you go to the Artisan restaurant in Wishaw and you walk in through the front door, I kid you not, you will never see the amount of North Stars. in your entire life. It's ridiculous the amount of bottles that they've got there. They've even got, when Ian bottled the PX, the fortified wine, you know, they've got everything inside of there. And I was like, oh, right, I always wanted to try the Campbelltown 4-year-old, 'cause it's in a really bold orange, it's almost like neon orange label, it's really striking. And Derek's like, yeah, no problem, there's a dram. I think it was like £3. I mean, you're kidding me, right? £3 for a 57% single cat. He was like, aye, there you go. This is mad. Absolutely mental. The prices are just so good. He's so fair for whiskey. It's like the whiskey mecca. And you'll know that, David, when you went there before. And the food's amazing. Go there hungry, you'll never eat for a week. Right? Because he brings it a sticky toffee pudding, and it's like the size of your face. And you're like, come on. Brilliant. I love it because I like my food, so it's fine.
It's genuinely, if anybody in the chat's not been to Artisan in Wishaw, it's a pilgrimage. It's a whiskey pilgrimage. Anybody that knows, knows. And it's weird. It's almost like the Kalila of whiskey bars in Scotland, of like, nobody knows what Kalila is until you get into whiskey. Then you're like, oh my God, Kalila. Then you see Kalila everywhere. Then you forget about it for a while, and then you go, oh, Kalila's really good. And Artisan's a bit like that, in terms of you don't know it until you know it, and then it's there all the time. And you just think, oh, I need to make a pilgrimage up there, even for lunch, and get put in your place. I got put in my place at lunch when I was like, I'll take the 3 courses, and she was just like, no, you won't. I was like, all right. She was right. She was absolutely right. We've got some more questions on the go here, mate. Moved on from that. The echo did come. The echo left again. So I'm literally. I feel like an actual, like, I'm DJing. I'm twiddling knobs and all that, and I'm watching levels. But every
You
day's a school
know,
day. We're learning.
I'm thinking that I'm going to get a big sign for Glasgow Whisky Festival for you come for session 1 that just says the echo came and the echo went away, and I'll put it above the roster. Right, I'll just do that just for you, David. Right.
There'll be about 9 people, mate, that will come to that festival and will get that joke and will love it. And I'm sure the guys in the chat will say it. Billy's saying that he's the same. He poured a glass of Lagavulin 16 after his girlfriend had gone to bed on the 2nd floor, and she sent me a message on the phone that said, I can smell you're drinking whiskey. Billy, man, you've got no chance. What a nightmare that is. That's why I'm like down the bottom of the garden in a hut away from the house. And then the irony is, my wife has this on live while she's in bed going to sleep. So I almost have to self-censor, because I know that she's listening and watching. And even if she's not, she might be. So we've got to be careful. This one's for you, Marcos. Why did North Star sponsor the Lomond and Clyde Whisky Festival so early in its infancy? What did they see in it last year to know North Star wanted to sponsor it?
So that was very good, really good question actually. That was me that kind of went, do you know what, we're going to sponsor it. I met Scott and John that run it a couple of years ago, and we'd done the festival last year, and I went down, thought it was really well run. It was a really good day for us. Everybody was really enthusiastic. I done my kind of, I think it was my first ever, was it my first proper like masterclass? I don't think it was. Was it? That was September time. Done a masterclass, and everybody was great. And I thought, well, why don't we sponsor it? Because technically it's our local festival. So we're based in Dumbarton, and the festival's in Helensburgh. So I was like, well, why don't we get involved in it and kind of help out a local festival? The people that went as well, everybody was really nice, they're really enthusiastic, the whiskey drinker, good folk that went to it. And I was like, yeah, I think that just kind of, the partnership's going to work really well. So keep an eye out for, there's going to be a few things coming with us in Lomond and Clyde as well. Yeah, it's exciting times. So no, but I thought that's kind of, it all went hand in hand, and it's going to be a good partnership. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I never realised that you guys were in Dumbarton. It's weird because years ago, so when I moved, what, 2010 to South Korea. And when I got to South Korea, everywhere I went was Ballantynes. Everywhere, Ballantynes. And I was like, I'm sure a lot of that's made in Dumbarton. Because I remembered the distillery, obviously at the bottom of the rock. And then last year, maybe 2 years ago, I'd take my mum and my wife and my little one a drive, and we went up to Luss and stuff, and then we went right round and came round at the top, down through Helensburgh, down to Dumbarton. I says, "Oh, well, do you want to see Dumbarton Rock?" And bear in mind, my mum's Glaswegian through and through. She'd never seen Dumbarton Rock, right? And I was like, right, we'll
Wow.
drive up to the Rock. So we drove up to the Rock, and that's all. Like, bear in mind, I've not been there for like a good 12 something years, easy. It's all houses now, where the distillery used to be.
Yeah.
And I just found that, and I saw that Living Souls put out a 30-year-old Dumbarton this week, and I was like, I said at the start of the stream, you don't see Dumbarton that often,
You
and then I was
don't.
like,
I
do
was,
you
I
know
was
see
listening.
Dumbarton for a reason?
Yeah. You don't see it. You don't see it very often in Barton actually, because it's not a ghost distillery. So it's one that's it gone, and that's the thing. It's interesting. Like all these ghost distilleries that you have going out there, and now Speyside. I know they've obviously had the Spirit Speyside Festival. Technically, that's now a ghost distillery because I believe the lease went up and they're now building a new one, and some good stuff out there. It's like a wee cheeky transition there, but the drama I've got a glass, that's a ghost distillery as well. So that is, do you like Portland Das Distillery? Yeah, that is North Star, Portland Das. That is a series number 1 bottling. So that's Ian's first ever bottling.
I was going to
Well,
say I've never seen a North Star Port Dundas, and then you're like Series One. I was like, yeah, that's why I've never seen it,
he was
because
very out
that
there
would
when
be
he,
the local outside of Strathclyde. That's the local Glasgow distillery. Well, that was the local
yeah,
Glasgow distillery.
yeah. When he started, so the releases was. He released a 20-year-old Aaron in Madeira, finished a Madeira cask. He released was that Tomor 2027? Bruichladdich 26. I may be getting the numbers mixed up with the two of them. He released a 8-year-old Ardmore, and of course the Port Dundas 12-year-old. And it is pretty, as I say, quite outgoing to release a young grain like that, because some grain really needs a bit of time. But his tasting notes are quite interesting because he's bang on them. He says it smells like vanilla cereal bars, ice cream, and rich tea biscuits, and it pretty much does, to be fair. Caramel, lemon oak, lemon sherbet, and oak on the palate, and sweet and savoury, and lots of brown sugar. 58.8%,
Sounds
and
like a breakfast whiskey, to be fair.
it's really good. It is really good. It doesn't require any water. It doesn't taste like a. Yeah, it's quite tasty. Yeah, it's quite nice.
Hamish is saying,
So,
have we got the green light to slide into your DMs?
aye, fire in.
Um, you
The
did
missus
say
doesn't
so.
mind.
Hamish,
Fire in.
fire in. Peathead Frank, he's been to Artisan, completely over Brute Laddie. He'd there. Yeah, of course, because if you don't know, Artisan does hold the world's largest collection of Brute Laddie, because Derek
Yeah,
is the founder of Friends of Brute Laddie, and the actual distillery reaches out to him at times for stuff,
mad,
which is just
mad.
insane. And you might have seen a picture, if you don't know Derek and you don't know Artisan, a picture went viral a couple of years ago of someone's loft space full of whiskey. And then it kind of picked up traction on Reddit and stuff like that, and people like, my God, no, it's so bad. It was Derek's loft. And if you ever mention that picture to him, you will get a 15-minute description of his air conditioning and dehumidifier setup in his loft. Definitely worth an ask. Just to see his face, and then he has to go through. He can't help it. Has to go through it. Codger, yes, you did see the visit to Artisan the first time I went. You saw me try the Ardna Gherkin, and the reaction was true because I was so hungover, and that was a whitey. Um, Petehead is saying that what we need, Marcos, is T-shirts for the Glasgow Whisky Festival that maybe
Mm.
say Echo, Echo, and then I've clocked a comment further down that you'll enjoy. But Codger's saying hello, Mrs. Dave. Um, I'm hoping she should be asleep at this point. If not, that won't creep her out at all. Um, good one, Martinez again. Which latest North Star release do you recommend? You're obviously going to recommend them all, but maybe this is more a pointed one of like, what was your favorite, and then what would what would you recommend as the, I don't know, best bang for your buck of the release? Maybe is a good one
If
to
you
do.
can get if you can get it, the Ben Nevis was very good. 12-year-old. It's hard to cut. It's hard to get it because of the price. I think it's sold out straight away. And with retailers, I would recommend the peated Glenturret, the Roodmore was banging. That was a really really good drum. I tried that and I was like, that's really good. Also, I know it sounds like I'm going to go through the whole list. The 19-year-old single cask Glenmurray was a very good drum as well. That was solid. You don't really see Glenmurray at that age independently. Well, I haven't seen it very often independently bottled at that age, and I was like, it's a really good price. I think it was about 120 RRP for single cask Glenmurray at that age. It was good. It's tasted up, and I like Glenmurray's one of those distilleries that it's really underrated. I think it's really underrated. They do some good stuff. I've actually just cracked open. Where is it? I think it's here. This is one that I had for ages. It was one of the first whiskies that I bought when I started to get into it, and it was Glenmurray Warehouse One, matured in a Takai finish. Banging, great drum. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but excellent. It wasn't single cask; it was 5 casks that they batted together. That was tasty. It was good stuff. The Warehouse One stuff's really good.
Unmute myself. Zoom. Hopefully that answers your question there, Martinez. And then Grand Rams is saying possible future channel North Star bottling of Kalila. Echo, echo, echo. Look, we'll always have this now, mate. Like this is the beauty of what we're doing. James is saying, well, the Ben Nevis went quick. It does. It's Ben Nevis. It's going to happen, isn't it? People take a punt on any Ben Nevis because they just want to see what's going on. But there's certain. The reason I have so much North Star, and the reason Marcos knows this, and most people know it, is my palate's in line with what's getting put out. And I think when you do independent bottlers, that's what you're doing. Because really, you remember, as big as whiskey seems, it's a small community of people doing the work. And so you can very quickly align with certain people's palates, the same way that maybe when I was doing my March Dram Madness and people go, oh, no, I wouldn't do that one. That wouldn't win for me. That's fine. It's my palate on that day. And so you've got to remember that. But when it becomes a job, and I'm sure Marcos is going to be able to add more to this, when you're doing it and what you're putting out at is such a process and such a science to it, because I don't assume that at the HQ you guys are sitting there just doing pure cast strength day in, day out tastings, because you would end up you'd be rattled the entire time. I know blenders and stuff do it all at 20%, but it'd be interesting to know, is that what you guys do, or what's the process?
I think like with me, like so there's a couple of wee things. Again, I don't want to go too much like to give anything away, but I'm working in something which is kind of cool. That you'll find out later on as well. But when I'm trying different samples, I always try it at the cash strength, and sometimes I mean it really depends. You have your natural. I mean, I've tried natural ABVs at like 45%, and because it's like that oxidization and it's naturally dropped down, it is just it's absolutely gorgeous. Bottle it, straight away, boom, get it sorted. It's a drinker. The flavour, the profile, the texture is just smashing, right? And then you have whiskies, of course, which, depending on the distillery, might have been filled at a higher strength. Because everybody goes, oh, the casks are filled. Some people go, the casks are always filled at 63.5%. They're not. There's distilleries out there that fill their casks a lot higher. There's distilleries out there that will be primarily some of those whiskies will be for blending, so they'll be filled out. Grain whiskey, all these different things, all these different factors that you have to put into when you fill your cask when it comes out. There's as crazy as it sounds, depending on where your cask is being matured, of course, there's going to be whether you have your angel share, whether it's higher or lower. Different countries around the world where the temperature fluctuations, all this sort of stuff, can have a massive impact on the influence of the cask as well. Shape, size, you name it. But for me, I always gradually dilute. Gradually try. What do we think? Right, cash strength, is that a wee bit too hot? Right, again, bring it down. Right, there we're getting flavour. Oh, but we've added a wee bit too much water there. Right, we've lost a bit in the nose. You know, there's so many different things and it's great. It's great that I get the opportunity to do that, to be able to try all these different things. But as you say, you couldn't be trying whiskey every single day. That's why these blenders are bringing it down to 20%. Because if you drank 60% whiskey every day, apart from you'd be scooshed, it's just aye.
Your
No.
palate would end up just done as well. Like eventually, you would lose the nuance. I think to go to that, like you're saying, when something's 45%, you'd be like,
Yeah.
is that too weak? Because you've proofed yourself up to a point where you're like, that's my level now, where I get the
Yeah.
flavour. We'll go
One of the
through what
best
else we've got here. We've got an echo bottling just for Drinks Whiskey fans has to happen. Billy's like, I would buy it. Wait, don't, because this is an echo chamber, literally, of like 10 people going like, I put out a release.
lost
We
our
can make
spirit
some
presents.
stickers, and I'm sure Marcos could find some stock that's maybe no shifted quick, and we could just stick it on it. Right. On that, I'm going to open this Orkney.
Oh, you opening that? So that's a Tindrum exclusive 12-year-old Orkney. I have got the
I needed,
17.
mate, I've needed an excuse. You know, this is part of why I do these things.
It's Ian's Orkneys are banging. They are very, very good. And we all know what distillery it's going to be. The
Scaffer.
17 to Series 24 was exceptional, to be fair. I've got a wee bit here, and it's
Bear in mind, I'm going to be coming at this as a fresh neck pour, so
good.
it'll still be good, but I'll leave it in the glass a wee second and just let it open up a wee bit. Right, next comment. What we got? Where are we at? Billy would buy that. We've got Frank saying, every year I see Derek Roman Brook Laddie during the open day, collecting new bottles, of course. Of course, he just never stops. Guys, update us. What's in the glass? Let us know. You know what we're drinking. You tell us what you're drinking. Because by now, I'm sure after all that tech issues, you've lubricated yourself, lubricated your ears. Crawford's asked Marcus, what North Star grain whiskey release at the moment? What's their flavor profiles? And I think that's a good one because grain, you still have. I know a good few whiskey folk that still fucking hate their grain, hate it.
Do you know what? It's funny going back to talking about grain. We released. So here we go. Right, we do a wee transition here, right? Not as smooth as you, but we'll get there. So you had the Spiker, right? You had the Vega, right? I'll try and get that in there. You had the Vega. You had the Sirius as well. But what Ian brought out, the kind of as the next follow up to that, was the Capella. So Capella Constellation Roga, of course, to do with all the constellation North Star as well. That was a 30-year-old Invergordon. Now Invergordon, if you don't like grain, I would recommend you try Invergordon Distillery. It's very good. It's owned by White Mackay. Founded in 1959, they said they started distilling in 1960, 1961. Primarily maize, so corn led. Of course, you've got your grain, your malted or malted barley in there for things like enzymes, but with the maize, primarily corn led, so it's nice and sweet. It's almost like kind of like an underlying rum note that you got from it. It was 2 refill barrels, so it was 2 refill barrels that we brought together. They were in their mid-60s, these casks. Bear in mind, 30 years old, and they're in their mid-60s. We brought it down, we were trying it, and we brought it down to 50%, and it is a fantastic grain whisky. It's excellent, really good value for money as well. Really good age. Probably kind of showcasing some of the best of what grain can do. It's not meant to be single malt. People try to go, it's not single malt. It's not meant to be single malt. You know, grain's a completely different beast out there. And I'm starting to get into grain a little bit more. And everybody thought that it was cheap when I started to get into whiskey, it's nasty, green, it's terrible. And then you start trying, Carlsbridge and Invergordon and Kinclair, and all this sort of like all these amazing grain distilleries in Portland Das. And you're like, well, aye, it's or Girvan as well. It's good. It is good stuff. Yeah, it's been put in refill cask, so it's been allowed to age a little bit longer. I mean, I've got what have we got here? So I'm saving this dram for somebody. And again, we got that for series 24, and that is a blended grain, but it's a 50-year-old blended grain. And it was matured in a Solera, an Oloroso barrique. And my goodness, man, see good grain whiskey. It is pretty banging, to be fair. That is good. Oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you, David. I think I've lost him here.
You know why that was? It's because I had something muted. But hopefully, I think we might have maybe finally got to the bottom of everything. But we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep a wee eye on it.
There you go.
There is this is a good one from Codger, and I think bang on, because like there's been some like stuff rumbling, and weirdly I have like a bit of deja vu in the Mortlach. Have you ever had one on an itch to do one, or is it quite difficult to get hold of the stock, or has it been overpriced, or etc.?
Do you know what? It's a really good question because there's a few people that I've heard this conversation recently. People talking about Mortlach and the fact that it is you don't see very often independently bottled. It's not something that I spoke to Ian about, but in terms of what I've seen of kind of casks going about, no, you don't see Mortlach particularly, and I think it is priced a little bit higher as well in the market. But again, whiskey at the moment's interesting because of people are saying there's a bit of a downturn there, and I was listening to earlier on about people saying that they're in the negative with casks and things like that as well, and definitely a drinker's market, if that makes sense.
No, it does. Marcus, can you just there we go. Sorry, I pressed that. I was testing something there, and as you said something at the very end there, and it worked. I just wanted to see if you were pulling in. So the way it goes, there's a million fucking sounds. It's such a nightmare. Anyway, and I'm drinking whiskey at the same time, so we're doing well. We're getting there, guys. The content, to be fair, these are powering through. These are staying on. It's good. Marcus is bringing a hell of a lot of value, a lot of insight that I'm really enjoying, and I hope you guys are too. So please do show him the love in the chat. So we had Codger saying that. We're going to go. You go one from Graham Drams. Marco, what distillery, OB and Indie, not including North Star, are impressing you currently?
Oh, right, okay. Ardnamurchan always do some good stuff. I like Ardnamurchan. The people there are a part of that are good. They're a good bunch. Good eggs. Not OB bottlings, but I do love my Killula. I love Killula. Probably my favourite distillery. I always have loved Springbank. Ever since I kind of found out about the distillery, I fell in love with it. I think everything that they do is really good. I think it's very fair, the pricing. I think it's for the whiskey drinker. I like Glasgow Distillery as well. I think Glasgow Distillery are doing some fantastic stuff. I think that if you want to buy official bottlings from them for single cask, what have you not, I mean, look at the 10-year-old that came out. I tried that last week. No, this week. I tried it this week at a whiskey tasting, and very spirit driven. It's been a refill bourbon cask that they've used, but for a 10-year-old single cask, they're an inaugural 10-year-old to come out for less than £70. I think that's really good. I think that's really, really fair. and again aiming towards specifically the whiskey drinker as well. They've done things very well, and I do like the distillery, like the ideology of them. They do do some banging drams as well. I'm interested to kind of find out more about the up and coming distilleries that are coming out. I really want to look into more and try some of the stuff from Eight Doors Distillery. I've seen this to a few people. Eight Doors. There's actually a distillery not too far from me that's started to create whiskey, and they're doing blends. Probably a distillery you've not heard of. Black Nest Distillery. I really weird, like going there, Debbie. Yeah, it's really cool actually. This wee distillery that they won a trademark to bottle a whiskey called the Mary Queen of Scotch. I was like, that's pretty cool. So that's just interesting me things like that. I was down and done a tasting for a lovely a woman called Katie who owns Spirited Bristol. She's awesome, right? She's amazing. And I was down there, and before my tasting, I wanted to see Circumstance Distillery. It's a great distillery, but the reason why I wanted to see it is because the Thompson brothers done an independent bottling of them, and everybody raved about it. Everybody went mental. Oh my goodness, 3-year-old, I think it was 3 or 5-year-old grain whiskey. This is excellent stuff. So I went down there. That was great. A few drams before my whiskey. Tiny one. Before my whiskey tasting, and really interesting, kind of like the fermentations, like 2 weeks, all that sort of stuff. But again, just like in a kind of wee industrial warehouse. I really like. There's some cool distilleries out there. There's some really good stuff, and the thing about it is because the amount of distilleries that are opening now, there is so much choice for people. It's just the whiskey drinker today is spoilt for choice in what they can get. There is so much going on. I'm interested. Like I know, like Holyrood Distillery have done a few kind of experimental things that have been out there. I've not tried too much of their stuff. That's quite interesting. Port Elite as well. There's so much going on, David, within the whiskey industry. It's mental. Like it's just mad. It's just you're spoiled for choice.
I think there's a lot of doom and gloom, right? And it's easy to be doom and gloom, especially if you're Scottish or in your middle age and whatever, right? You can be doom and gloom all the time. But there is as many of these new ones coming, and I know that there was some rumours, and we spoke about this last week on the stream. There's some rumours about Holyrood struggling a wee bit, and I look, none of that shocks me because of the nature of how the market is at the moment. But they're trying new stuff, and they came out all guns blazing, having went through like a very kind of brewer approach to whiskey. They had all these different yeasts and different grains and different malts, and really like I met the guys at a couple of shows and spoke to them about it, and it was like it wasn't for lack of trying. They're doing what they should be doing, and as we've seen, you're mentioning Glasgow there. We're all friends here, and we're all honest. Glasgow was the best at launch. And then all of a sudden, as it got a bit of time and a bit of maturity, it went up, and the quality's just continued to skyrocket, and the
Quality very good.
reputation's grown,
Yeah.
fairly, but organically because people have tried it. They've got it into the hands of people going like, no, we trust you, but we trust what we're putting in your hand. So try this and do it. So there is so much out there at the moment, especially new ones. Circumstance being one down here. What the what Wireworks have pulled
Oh
off from
man,
English whiskey.
I can't. Do you know? I feel really bad that I never mentioned them because their stuff. I've only tried one or two of their drams, right? And it was at the bourbon barrel, the Cashinet bourbon barrel, and I went, "Oh my goodness, man, this is banging! This is phenomenal." Their stuff is fantastic. It's really, really good, and I can see why they're building up such a good reputation with whiskey folk because stuff's really good. I think was it a port? But do you know what? I was kicking myself that I missed. What was the one that they done? It was like the pre. It was not the wash or something. It was like the wash that you used to like clear out something. It just came out. Was it a week or two ago? And it was a single cask.
And
I
it
should
it
have got a
flew
bottle of that.
it disappeared instantly,
Yeah,
and a
that was
couple of
so
people I know
interesting.
got it, and they're genuinely like the comments I saw were like, and these are whiskey people, like proper, like I trust their palates, I trust their expertise, and they were like, "How the fuck have they done this?" That's what they were like. How is this a thing? I need to give a
What was
shout
that
out
game?
as
Was it
well.
like was it like the proof water or something that you, it was something like really funky, right? And I'm just like, this is this is awesome. It just sounds great.
I think it was called Still. Was it Still Waters?
Yeah, I'm sure it was something like that. And I just thought that sounds cool. That sounds it's going to be flavor driven, and it's just going to be so much going on in the glass. And yeah, I was like, whoever, hopefully everybody that got it has just cracked the bottle open and just put, there we go. You know, have a have that, because that's it. It is something that's a little bit left to centre. It is different, but not just for the sake of it. Hopefully, it's, you know, flavour driven as well. But nah, I went to Kendal. I done the festival at Kendal last year, and while I worked with there, and I tried a couple other stuff, and it was, yeah, excellent, really good.
The one I want to give a shout out amongst the small ones as well is, and I've not released it yet, but it's coming. And I tried it at Croydon Whisky Festival, and I've said it before. Spirit of Birmingham.
Okay.
What they're doing is, again, fantastic. Like, enthusiasts leaning in. So that's my little shout out. And the comments are obviously, as I said before, Marcus, they're on a bit of a lag. I can see them flying in, and they're gonna pull up the stuff, some of the distilleries you mentioned. I know for a fact. But before we get to that, Martinez came in saying, "What's the most difficult job as a brand ambassador? Like, what's your most least wanted questions at festivals?" And I think that's quite a hard one for you to answer, because you have to toe a line between the public and what you're saying. So maybe it's a case of like, what's the most common question you're asked at festivals where you're like, like you see actors on press junkets and they're like, "Oh, this question again. Oh, this question
You
again."
know,
Is it like that, or is it? Do you
no, do
just
you know
approach?
what? I think with being an independent bottler, right? It's a really good question. Again, the questions have been banging. I've never had I've never had somebody that's asked me a question that I've never really wanted to answer, because you're an independent bottler, you've got so much choice. You have to know about more distilleries rather than towing the line, if you want to call it, with one. I do remember a guy walked up to me. I'll never forget this, right? This was Glasgow Whisky Festival. He seen David the amount of bottles we had, and he walked up to me. We've got like nearly 80 bottles on the table, and the guy goes, it was so funny, he goes, "So tell me, what have you got?" Like, where do I start, mate? I was like, and it was basically organised chaos, but it was brilliant, and I busted laughing, and he busted laughing as well, because I think he realised, I went, but we've got this, and we've got a liquid 10-year-old cask sample, and we've got 50-year-old grain, and we've got an imperial, and we've got, like, it was just mental, some of the stuff that we had, but it was really funny when he said, "So what have you got?" Maybe it was a bit intimidating seeing nearly 80 bottles of whiskey. But I'll never forget when someone, when actually my friend walked up to me, she went, "Knows as much as last year." I was like, "Oh, come on." I was like, "Really? Knows as much as last year?"
I
Um,
nearly took I nearly took the picture of that to put on this, just to like pull up at one point. If you never saw it, and I know a few people were definitely at the festival last year. I know Frank Peterhead was there and whatever. Um, it was the night before we obviously did the podcast, and you said, "Oh, but there's a bottle limit for the table." May have forgot it, and then you showed me a picture of your setup, and I was like, "Nah, there's no way." And I was like, "Aye, aye," thinking to myself, "You've done that." But come the day, there'll be maybe 10, 12 bottles out, and then you'll pull out as you go through it, 2 sessions and whatever. No, 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 not North Star, no Marcos. It was literally, and it was like the irony was, when I came to see you, it was a frenzy, not even a frenzy at the table, but there was just so many people, and you were just like, it was poetry in motion, just, flow state, in an absolute flow state, just kept going, this dram, that dram, bum, bum. Um, and it was funny because I later on in the day, I went to another table, just diagonal from you, the Bunnahabhain table, and there was a guy came on, he's like, what you got under the table? And I realized, oh, there's a lot of people here that want the under the table drams, and I was like, don't get under the table over there, everything's on the table. Clear the table, and we're done.
yeah, it
Absolutely
was.
brilliant.
it's my favourite festival to be at. That was my first time working Glasgow Whisky Festival. I just loved it. It's just Nostar doesn't participate in Glasgow Whisky Festival. We kind of just take over Glasgow Whisky Festival in a very sympathetic, nice way. And then next thing you know, when the festival ends, we've got like the funky music blasting, got a bit of Parliament in the background, like boom, there we go. Yeah, that's what you're wanting, right? It's just brilliant, right? Hopefully it'll be the same again this year as well. It'll be really good. But I'm buzzing for that. But no, it's Whiskey Festival are meant to be fun. I've never had questions where people are like, "I went, oh, don't ask me that," because that's what you do. I love whiskey. So people are asking you questions, and you should be able to, like, if someone's taking their time out to come up to you and ask you a question about Nostar, about your brand, then fire away. I've never had it where I'm like, oh, I haven't, David. So
But
maybe I've not been
that's
doing
what
it. Maybe I've not been doing it long enough. Who
I was going to
knows?
say. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it? It's like if you love your job and you want to encourage people, and that's the thing. Like as you said, you never drank for 5 years and whatever, and then you discover this whole world of whiskey, and you dive in, and that exact same. I think everybody thinks that because we're Scottish, it's in our blood and we just love whiskey. And I'm like, you couldn't be further from the truth. We almost push against it. We push it away because it's the parochial stereotype. Oh, whiskey. But once you get into it, you can't. If you like it, every day's a school day, and it's brilliant. Um, I'm pulling up some of the comments because we've got quite a backlog to go through. Peathead's on a Kalila 11-year-old independent bottle right now, of course, and I can guarantee it's not sherried because he is anti-grape. Highland Hamish saying North Star Capella was excellent and Marcus tasting in Inverness. He had one and did not see Christmas. um, Martinez has red wine in the glass tonight and for the next 10 days in Spain. Oh, poor you, mate. Poor you. Get the violins out. Kyle's just joined. He's just got home from a brewery crepes food truck afternoon after a full day of garage clean out. Pulled a wee calibrator, which is a wee old Glenmorangie 10, which is we've discovered, Marcus, that's pretty much the de facto like Glenmorangie 10 or 12, depending on when you've bought your bottle recently. Seems to be like a nice baseline dram to just kind of.
Aye, it's just a nice, easy drinking dram. Like, what have I got? I love how I keep going back and going, right, what have I got in here? Where is it? Is it kind of here? There was a Glenfiddich. Right, so, Glenfiddich. Nice, easy drinker. That's the IPA, that's the rum cat. It's lovely. Yeah, it's just nice, easy
Originally,
drinking.
the Glenfiddich 12, is it 12? I think it's 12, the core. Ginger beer and some lime tastes like Umbongo, the tropical fruit drink from the UK, which no longer really gets advertised because it was a bit controversial. Look it up on YouTube and you'll understand why. Capella is the brightest star in the constellation. Are you gay? Arugi?
Aruga.
I don't know. I'll let. I like it when I make Frank spell stuff out for me in the chat. How do I pronounce that? Is it Arugi or Arugi? So you'll let us know. Crawford's, I'm teetotal just now because I've got Piper and Bon whiskies plus Stirling Whiskey Fest, so Doc would kill me with all these drams in a short period. Fair enough, mate. Like, as I said, I'm beer total at the moment. No beer for me. The odd drams. So I'm kidding myself on that these are healthy because I'm having them with soda water. Billy's still on the bells, so that's because Billy's in Norway, so he gets everything a little bit later. And he was mentioning that he's due to get this. There's some South Star coming in apparently from a distributor. So he's got that coming in as well. But he's not at home either, so all he's got in hand is Bells. But Bells is fine. James is saying Good Age Grain has complexity, a few transitions. Yep, and now we're coming up to the part of the chat where I was on mute. That's how far behind we are, mate. So we'll fire through these. Cold Jude's talking about at Campbelltown, he's saying, I'm disappointed I missed the Tuesday night tasting. I double booked as the Glen Scotia dinner, and Kate let us move to the Monday welcome in evening instead. So you're some of these folk are gonna come up to you and be like, echo, 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 and Julie and Kate, and that are gonna be looking at you like that. They're gonna be
Please
like,
do.
what's going on? What's this all about? Crawford's off to Ardnamurchan next Monday. I would love to go to Ardnamurchan, mate. Right, and I looked at this. Fuck me, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's genuinely.
I think it's a bit of a, but I think
It's a pilgrimage. You have to.
Distillery.
Like,
if you're going to visit a distillery, then there are good people involved in that distillery, so you'll have good fun. And I believe they've still got. Is it they've still got the handful, which is like 6-year-old Golden Promise? I think they've got that.
Yeah, they got that Golden Promise stuff they put out because the Whiskey Exchange down here and that got some.
Right.
The Golden Promise is just fantastic, fantastic. But yeah, no, I looked at that drive. So Crawford, more power to you. And then he also added in 8 Doors in Blackness Bay. Mad Irish guy plays the pipes. And Highland Hamish is saying,
guy that owns it. So I'm sure it's an Irish guy that owns it. So I need to.
There you go.
I've been in because he owns like a wee pub, and the wee pub's alongside where his distillery is. Really good food. Really good food in there. So nice wee place.
Hamish is saying Seven Sons 10-year-old blend from 8 Door punches well above its weight. So yeah, Hamish was doing a tasting at the football at Ross County.
Oh, cool.
Recently as well. And he's saying like he had it in that tasting and it did really well. We were talking about like why is the production so good? Crawford saying modern technology allows distilleries to get smaller and smaller, but just make better and better. And I think that is something that's true. But weirdly, you would think it would become unified because of the tech, and it never does.
Well,
everybody's making something a little bit different. Well, you would hope.
Prime example of small distilleries is probably Donlock, because their stuff's like, the Highland mezcal as they call it, and it's very unique and it's very good. It is really.
And you can taste it. I know in the
Yeah.
blends, like when you taste the blends, and I said that to them, not even that Tesco blend, I'm like, you can taste the Donlock in it now because you're so distinct. I've got a couple of single casks behind me, and I opened one like, for this. I think it's one of their only like PX.
Oh, right, okay.
And I did it, and there's the video's up. It's for me or no for me. I did it on, and it's mental. It's genuinely exactly what you want from a distillery like the way Dornoch is right now. Not the Thompson brothers, but the Dornoch distillery.
Yeah.
Of just like, this is mental. This brings so much to the table on initial taste, and then again you leave it. I ended up leaving some in the glass overnight, came back, and it was all red fruit. All that PX.
I managed to try when I went up and done the Dornoch Whisky Festival. Cracking festival, if anybody ever gets the chance to go. And I was in the Dornoch, again, cracking bar in the castle, right? And the hotel. And I managed to try cask number 1. So it was the Oloroso Sherry Bar. And it was good. It was good. A little bit different from the Dornoch's, like, obviously, I know you get a PX, but the bourbon, kind of a little bit lead and smaller cask, but that was fantastic. But then someone told me, I was like, oh, right, one of these has got a golden cork. And I was like, golden cork? What are you talking about? And it was that when it was released, they wanted everybody to open their bottles, and somebody's probably sitting on a bottle of Dornoch, and if you opened it and it had that golden cork or capsule, you got a cask, but nobody claimed it. So somebody opened it one day and go, oh man.
But did you not see that we're selling? There was a couple of people, maybe it was last year at the festival, maybe people were visiting, and they sold a bottle of cask 1. I was quite shocked that they sold it. Like, I was like, oh, I thought you would have been keeping that for like behind the bar, but they sold it at the hotel, and it was opened right away. And I know the
guy. I know the guy who done it, and I was like, good on you. I know exactly who it was.
And at the time, I'm thinking to myself, why would you open it like right away? And then I was like, he's opening it and going like, I'm Charlie Bucket. I'm getting the golden ticket. I'm going home with a cask. But
do you know, I know the guy that I'll not say who it is, but I know the guy that bought it, and I was like, do you know what? Fair play to you, man. That's so class, and that's the sort of it's like Ian when he sells his North Star bottles. They're meant to be drunk, they're meant to be open, cracked open, and have a dram of it because
But
that's
that's
just
it. It's just
enjoy it,
it's
man.
the way you would hope. Obviously, I would assume they've sold them it because of that. They know what they're getting. They're not selling it to somebody that's just speculating, coming up, saying, "Oh, have you got? Oh, I heard you get your first cask or whatever." On that, I've poured myself another dram. Went for the
Oh,
runner-up
man.
of March Dram Madness, and I know it pained you, mate. I know it pained you. It was very close. It was very close. It was so close, but I had to just go. Anybody that knows me is probably my fault. Is I'm too honest and I'm too like straight matter of fact with what I'm doing in the whiskey space, and it was just on that day the palate. And see if it had been maybe the next day, there's every chance that it would have went the other way. But I never had the time because I only had a finite amount of time to get those done. Um, but this one for anybody that doesn't know, this was bottled 2020, October 2020. This is series 11.
Wow.
Let me see if I'll move my face. It'll zoom. There we go. And the tasting notes on this are fireworks and citrus, Cuban smoke, palates, lemon sherbet, white pepper, vanilla pod sweetness, and the finish is smoky cranberry and pistachio ice cream. I reckon the best Kalilas I've had are from North Star, and I
I'd
think
agree,
I'm
man.
comfortable saying that. I did a terrible video when I was doing keto a few years ago, where it was pairing whiskey and fish.
Yes.
And the Kalila that I had was a North Star and paired perfectly with the tinned tuna, artisan tinned tuna, not John West. Um, but was a
Wicked.
sensation. And as a guy that hates fish, made my night so much better. But why do you reckon that is? Why what do you reckon who's picked so firstly, is Ian gonna pick the casks?
Yeah.
So then is he highly
100%.
attuned to Kalila? Because
Ian's got a very good palate. Ian's got a very good palate. I've learned a few things for Ian that, to be fair, his qualities casts are good. It's very important. I'm not just. I said this the last time we done a stream, but my favourite whiskey that I've ever tried was a North Star Killer, and it was matured in a port octave, and it's just sweet peat juiciness that everything that I want. So I would agree that Kalilas that Ian's brought out, that's probably one of the, I think some of his best stuff is Kalilas. It's hard. It is hard to make like a bad Kalila. I've not tried a bad Kalila, right? And I know I will one day, and it'll be like a scunner when I do. I mean, it's funny actually talking about Kalila. I remember speaking to Ralphie about this, right? And you laugh. So my in-laws, they like their whiskey as well. That's probably why one of the reasons they like me because I bribed them with whiskey, right? But they they started. They came on and saying, "Oh, I've got this. I've got Ben Bracken." I was like, "Ben Bracken?" I was like, "Is that the whiskey for little?" I was like, "Right, okay." Oh, £18. They love a bargain, right? They love a bargain, right? And I remember they pulled Ben Bracken Speyside, and I was like, "That's okay." And I think there was like speculation it might have been Tam the Villain or something like that, right? I was like, "All right, okay, it's no bad." Then I tried the Ben Bracken Isla, which is Caligula, right? I was like, "Do you know what? That's actually really good. And it's 40%." I was like, "That's brilliant." And then Ralphie said to me, "Well, do you know what you would do with that? You would just blend it up." I was like, "Well, there you go. Blend up with something. A wee bit more complexity. Few wee teaspoons, there you go." It's like, "Get dram for the money.
I've
Don't
had
let
it, mate.
anybody,
I've
you
had it,
know, don't."
and it's exactly that. It's a drinker,
Yes, it's good.
and it's one of those things of like I'd say that during the March Dram Madness about oh no, for me or no for me, I think it was, and I was trying the double black Johnny Walker,
Yeah,
and I was like, for the price point of what you're paying for that now, I went, oh, I'd just buy an OB bottle of Kalila instead,
yeah, yeah.
because if you're wanting this more intense, smoky, sweet, just get Kalila. And then I looked up the price of what OB Kalila is now. And I was like, okay, maybe not. And then I was thinking to myself, I was like, Ben Bracken is exactly that. 40%, okay. It's 40%. You're not getting quite the hit, but you're getting a lot of the goodness for 18 quid. Now, that
Yeah.
doesn't, we're not, and I'm pretty sure, Marcos, I can speak for you here as well. I'm not advocating that all whiskey is equal when you're buying it from Lidl,
Yeah.
but when you try these, especially the Isla ones, because it's a finite distillery source, whereas when you try a Highland or you're trying a Speyside,
I
they
think
can
like
be,
they bought out Ben Bracken's. I think Lidl brought out like special edition of like Ben Bracken that was like 30-year-old and stuff. They've done some like really cool wee things, but I think it's like the kind of the value price point. If you go into a supermarket, and you find that you're not going to walk into a supermarket and find North Star because that's just not like.
no.
I don't want to speak on behalf of it, like, but you're just not going to see. You're just not going to walk into a supermarket and get because that's not what we're about. We're an independent bottler, going straight for the whiskey. For the whiskey enthusiast and the whiskey drinker, we don't care if you've been drinking for a couple of days or you've been drinking whiskey for 30 years. We just want you to drink Drams and have fun with it as well. But I think like that value aspect, like I can't believe it's 80. And I tried it. I was like, that's pretty good. If you're wanting, I think if you're wanting official bottlings of peat, can't go wrong with Kilkerran, David. I mean, the value of Kilkerran, I think, is
Nah,
fantastic.
But again, Kilkerran is one of those ones, you need to be a layer below that level. You need to be into a wee bit of whiskey. You could walk into a specialist whiskey shop, and I think that's what stops a lot of people. Is it's still quite an intimidating environment to walk into and be like, right, where do I start? And have the balls to go up to someone and say, "Can you just show me this?" And that's why I think the supermarket whiskies have a job to do. I think on the peat front, the Ben Bracken probably is a bit weirdly little that. I went in the supermarket tonight before I came over to get some of the soda water, and the way the price fluctuations go as well. Glenmorangie 12 was 40 quid.
Yeah.
Lefroy 10 was 40 quid. Um, they go a bit funny, and the average consumer. I'm working on a video. I can tell you guys because I tell this live stream everything. I'm working this video about how to save the Scotch whiskey industry, because the reality is there's a glaring obvious layer that is, how do you get new people in? How do you bring people in? That's always been the problem, but no more so now, especially when there's recession and people are worried about money and everything. And in my professional background, I've done a lot of alcohol work in the past, and the most glaringly obvious thing, I worked with one of the heads of one of the massive alcohol firms in the UK, and she said to me, David, people don't give a fuck. They look at promotion. What's on promotion? And we were talking about vodka. They don't. No one goes, oh well, no, I'm going. No, I'll only buy. 95% of the people don't go, oh, I only buy Grey Goose or I only buy this or that because of the branding. They go, what's on offer this week? And at the time, it was like Russian Standard, £12. Stolly, 30. Smirnoff this week, £11. Fine. And then once you hit above £18, then you're asking a lot of people to buy booze because they just don't see the value. The general public don't see the value. And so then you're like, well, how do you overcome that? How do you break down that barrier, that kind of like, and wine had this problem in the 80s and early 90s where it was like, no, I just buy this wine. I don't take a chance. Whereas now people are like, oh no, you don't get a really good bottle of wine for under £12 because of the tax and all this kind of stuff. So you spend 15 quid and it'll be fine. Don't spend £6. Never buy the cheap one because it's not going to be great. Like everybody kind of educated themselves up. Whereas with whiskey, best selling bourbon in the UK, well, it's not a bourbon, it's Jack Daniels, isn't it? That's what everybody loves because it's a lifestyle. Best selling whiskey is a supermarket whiskey. It's a whiskey that's bought in supermarkets. So you have a lot of those elements to it. But I just think that Ben Bracken and what Lidl do and stuff like that, is good because it's putting something that's better in the hands of people that would never normally buy that.
Yeah, I
And I
agree with
think my favourite supermarket whiskey, you know your Glenmorangie, is Glenmurray. I think Glenmurray's a fucking good whiskey for its
that.
price
Yeah.
at that level. And then they brought out the Twisted Vine, which I think was about
The cognac,
£28.
cognac, yeah, the cognac
And
finish.
that was
It's good brand,
unbelievable. But it
good
was
brand.
40%. And we're snobs because we're all like 40%, oh, I'm not drinking that. And then you try it and you're like, that's phenomenal whiskey.
Well, I'll tell you, funny you talking about 40% because I done a whiskey tasting and I kid you not, I'm really fortunate I get to go to this whiskey club and we get really good drams, right? And I know we get really good drams. I'm like, wow. But my friend was like, Marcos, I've got a miniature. And I was like, right, okay, where are you going? He goes, I've got McPhail. Like, McPhail? It's like, aye, McPhail's for G&M. I was like, cool. And it's a 10-year-old and it's from the 80s. Now, this McPhail's 10-year-old, I was told, is Bowmore. Cracks it open, pours it in the glass. And I kid you not, I turned to him and went, that is one of the best rams I've tried this year. It was phenomenal, David, right? It was absolutely just old school. Tropical gets used a lot in whiskey, right? But this was just tropical peaty. It was, man. I'm starting to get into Bowmore more. Independently bottled Bowmore. I wanted to try and kind of, Ian's bottled a few Bowmores. He's bottled like an 18 and he's bottled a 26. I've got a wee bit of a 26-year-old Bowmore sitting on my desk. And I'm just like, right, I just open it and I just smell it. Right, that's me back to work. Right, how we smell that? It's amazing, right? But we tried some like absolutely frigging awesome drams, right? During that tasting, and some. I mean, can I just vote for the title that fails? It was fantastic. It was 40%, and it was just maybe a little bit of that kind of OB, that old bottle effect as well coming through. But my goodness, it
I think
was
that there is a snobbery about
fantastic.
40%. I think we have a amongst us, and I'm saying I'm sweeping statement, but I think sometimes we forget. And I come down here, and the reason that Speyside South Star was opening that was because one day I came down here and I was like, I really fancy a dram, but I fancy a dram that's no going. I just need something easy, like a, I need something mid tier. And that's
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
I think that's 46, 40,
48,
48%.
48.
You
Yeah.
know, and I'm like, oh, that's me proofing down. That's all right. So now, like, I'm happy with my black label or whatever. I'll just have that. But I've put up just that there because Donna Pass came in and said about the Glenmurray as well as I was talking about it. But he'd obviously said it before I was talking about it. So really good. I'm going to fire through some more of these comments, guys, because I know we're so far behind. Apologies. Um, Let me see. Codger, he's got a Spirit of Birmingham whiskey in the garage. It's brilliant. And he asked, do you ever think we'll ever get a £70 bottle of Daft Bill? And honestly, it's it's a working farm. It's almost like a hobby, a hustle. At the end of the day, I know they produce quite a lot of outturn, but if you've met Francis, you know, like, I don't know about you, Marcus. I don't know if you'll ever see Daft Mill under £100.
I remember the first time I tried Daft Mill and I was like, it's very distinctive. It's got a very distinctive character to it. I think I said to you before, like once I tried, it's like, I don't know if grassy is the word to kind of, it's just this, you know you're drinking Daft Mill. You
And he hates
know,
it. I watched a video with Aquaviti and he hates it when it's steamed grassy. And I'm like, but it tastes grassy. No, but everybody, and it's also a lowland whiskey. And I'm like, it's kind of de facto. Green apples as well, I get a lot at the time.
yeah, there's like kind of orchid
But it's
fruit, yeah.
brilliant. But I would love nothing more than a Daft Mill under £70. But I also don't know if it's because of the distribution agreement with Berry Brothers. I don't know if maybe there's an element of it, like it needs to be at this price point or whatever. So we'll
Good stuff
see.
though. Francis
Um,
made some really good, some spirit. I've not tried a bad Daft Mill. Again, it's one of those distillers. You don't see it very often, but people that love Daft Mill, they love Daft Mill. They're like so invested in it, and I love that he's built up that kind of community of people that are so kind of infatuated with Daft Mill because it's good juice. It's
It's
good
good
juice.
juice. It's great. It's
Yeah.
great. It's really good. I've got a bottle. I bought two, and it's the bottle that I shared the most ever, which was silly because it was one of the most expensive bottles I'd bought at that point, 150 quid a bottle.
Was
But it
that
was
the
a
one you
single
were
cap.
cutting the wax? You were like cutting the wax
Aye,
off.
it was
Yeah.
150 quid. It was a single cask for Dram Busters in Dumfries. PX
Oh,
PX
that'd be
cast
lovely.
half mil. Um, bottled, like picked or bottled or something on Christmas Day. It's a Christmas Day bottle. There's something about Christmas Day, like the date on it. Um, and it's a perfect. It's my best example of what a sherry cask should do to a spirit, where the spirit is still evident, but the sherry enhances it.
Yeah.
Because I've had a Springbank before, PX cask, and it just tastes like PX, and I'm like, this is no fun. It just was perfect. And they drink it in the Congo. That's us referring back to the Umbongo comment. Petehead has came in with his pronouncing, as he's not a native Latin speaker, pronouncing reggae is guess for me as well. So he's calling it Ao Reggae.
How would you think?
For what it's worth, my wife says that the new Spindrift fruit punch tastes just like Umbongo. Fantastic hell. Donna Passes came in at this point, and we also have Kampai Planet. Don't know if you know
Oh,
Kampai Planet. Mac from Tokyo. He's joining in Umbongo from Tokyo. Right? And he's saying, indeed, it is morning in Japan, which I'm facing after a terrible night's sleep, as you asked. Well, mate, I hope we're making it a wee bit easier for you. As you're joining us, as we're talking about just, you're getting us at the tail end of a few drams, and you're just waking up to start your day. Like I never know how when Mac joins these chats, I'm just like, mate, the time difference is such a thing, and I think we'll definitely I would love to get Mac in the morning on one of these, like joining us. Could just poured a bit of Long Row 15 festival bottle, been nursing this tiny bottle, but it seems like a good time with the festival so close. Yeah, and you're going to be able to pick up stuff in Campbelltown to replace it, and it's not going to cost you double, 3 times the price of what you would normally pay. Kyle's in the US. I'm onto a bourbon pour as it's Derby time, thinking it's going to be an Elijah Craig reaching for the 13-year-old. Brilliant.
Right. I'm gonna
Um,
I'm gonna start to get into my bourbon a wee bit more, David. I'm like starting
you
to
need
kind
to
of
get yourself down here. I've got a full cabinet of mental bourbon. I normally have a bourbon on the table for the streams, but it's very it's like when you start your whiskey journey, everything tastes the same
right,
until you taste enough of it, and
right,
then you
right.
go, ah, and then you taste the good stuff, and you go, oh, and then you go back to the bad stuff.
Well, I managed to get a bottle of Cutty Wilfless released to Heaven Hill. The 15 that
Hmm.
was finished in an next Killick. I managed to get a bottle of that. I'm gonna crack that
Fantastic,
open and try it. But no, I'll come down to if that's an open invite, I'll come down to yours
mate. It's
and
always an open invite.
get a couple
Everyone
of
in the stream
drams
has
and
an open invite. I've just don't post the address.
get everybody at one time. Like so,
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting until I can get my wife. By this point, she should be asleep. Get my wife and child on a nice wee holiday. Away you go, and then everyone can come down. And then she'll be like, "Why is there a path? Why is all the grass fucked?" Well, a lot of people walked through here. Let's go through. Crawford says, "Thanks for the Lido Aldi one's info. Useful for a decent substitute." Honestly, I would say even Aldi. Like if you see I would say take the gamble on anything Isla, like those ones, because they're going to only come from a few distilleries. Um, so you can kind of trust it a little bit. It's not going to be the most spectacular whiskey you ever have, but if you just need a drinker or you need something at Christmas, like Christmas time's a prime example, and you just want to pour it out to family and friends, really good. James is saying, yeah, used to have a few cask strength bangers to be used in blending. Good to take along in a sample bottle. Crawford. I was married into drams through friends, travelling. I love geography, the land, seas, distilleries, people. It's all wonderful stories with drams at the centre. Exactly, mate. That's the best thing about whiskey. I love it for that. We went to, for the first time ever, shame to say, when I was up for the weekend a few weeks ago, we went to Balmaha.
Oh, amazing.
And Balmaha's on the fault line of the lowlands and the highlands. And I'd never had it properly explained to me that that is a genuine fault line. And it's all about the actual geomass, the effect it has on the water and the effect it has on the land. And it was like, that all makes so much sense. And again, I'm with my mum and she's looking at it going, like, you mean it's different where we live compared to here? And I was like, no, two steps to the right compared to there. And she's like, what do you mean? And a beautiful part of the world, but you then start to think about it in whiskey terms and you go, right, okay, so that's why Highland's like this. But then you're going, so how does Loch Lomond do all the things they do and Loch Nagar? And you start to work your way up the whole, in your head, the map of how everything changes and stuff like that and the stories and it's brilliant. But the main thing at that is the stories with the drams at the centre. I get asked all the time, and Marcus, you'll have this as well, of, well, what's your favourite whiskey? And I'm like, nah, what was my favourite whiskey at this point in time? Because I was with people or I was somewhere or this happened or that happened. That's my favourite whiskey for that. Excuse me, as I move this label. Do you have something like that? Is there a whiskey that's maybe no an obvious best whiskey, but is a point, moment, time? I know you've got your Grand's whiskey, which is a perfect example of that.
Got
You
right
know,
Good job.
like I didn't know it was. I couldn't see that, but
Oh no, sorry, I know. Get your binoculars out. Well,
and someone had asked
sorry,
it
pal.
earlier, saying someone had actually asked in the chat, how is your Gran? She doing
Oh,
well?
she's
She all
brilliant.
right?
She
Brilliant.
she'll love me for saying this to her. She's in Ibiza at the moment.
It's not. Is it opening
Seven-
season? Opening week?
78 years old and has been to Ibiza twice. Oh jeez, man. Like
Brilliant.
unbelievable. I've only been to Ibiza, so
I've never been,
she's
mate.
she's some women. So nah, she's all good. She's all good. Still growing old disgracefully. So that's what I love about her. So fantastic. It's
I
the way to
think
be.
that Dram's a perfect example of that, though, of because Tullabarton, like, let's be fair, not the strongest brand name out there.
It's not like a distillery that's you've probably heard of Tullybarden because you've seen like the Sovereign on the 225 or whatever in the supermarket. But independently bottled, good stuff. It's good stuff. And again that wee kind of connection with my gran, but going back to what you're saying, a kind of whiskey and time that kind of hit with me was when I started to get into whiskey, I started to drink Ardmore. I don't know if I said this to you before, David, but started to drink Ardmore Legacy, and yes, I done the ultimate sin. I mixed it with Coca Cola. Oh, right, it's bad, right? But famously known for being a peated Highland, and the only person that drank whiskey in my family, my nan's husband drank it, but my dad's mum drank. He drank Teacher's Highland Cream. And then I found out that Ardmore, main component that went into Teachers, that kind of wee connection. So I was like, oh, right. And I started to drink a bit more Ardmore. So it's kind of like a wee distillery. It's got a place in my heart, and the juice is very good. Again, I think Ardmore is highlighted in a very good light through independent bottling.
Yep,
Some
I
really good
agree.
stuff. in independent bottling.
100%. The best, well, I say the best. The first time I had Ardmore outside of that legacy, because again, like Glenmorangie, it's a supermarket whiskey. Like, it's a whiskey you see, you're just like, right, fine, nah, no for me. And I'd went to the SNWS in London. This was a few years back, probably just coming out of COVID, with a few mates of mine. And rather than pick, and we all know there's the bottle codes, and you can, if you can figure it out, we just went, nah, fuck it. Can you just give us a selection based on a couple of palette notes. We said what we wanted. We went through them. Oh, what's that? That one's amazing. And it was an Ardmore. And all of us, 4 of us, were shocked because we were still, I wouldn't say new to whiskey, but not versed in like that by any means. And ever since I always try an Ardmore. Any independent Ardmore that I can get at shows and stuff like that, especially. Like, let me try it. Never lets you down. Never lets you down. It's just a good
It's the
distillate.
same with. It's the same with. I think I love Linkwood Distillery. I love it. I think Linkwood is such a it's so citrusy, and there's like this floral note that comes through some of them, and it's just it's solid stuff. And again, highlighted so well through independent bottling. Works really well with bourbon. To be fair, it takes the cask very well, in my opinion. But Linkwood, anything pre 1980s, one tub condenser, quite heavy. So the Linkwood that you're getting today is like Linkwood 2.0, and then
Right.
Linkwood the original was, I believe, like the experimental that they had, but that was originally put through one tub condenser, so they made the spirit a bit more heavier as well because of the contact with the copper and what have you. Good stuff.
They
It
did.
reminds me of, yeah,
On you.
it reminds me Linkwood kind of, maybe like I think it's got similarities to Rosebank. It is quite that kind of floral. It's just a brilliant dram, and it's very accessible as
That's
well.
a big claim to make for it. But mate, I get what you're saying, and I think what's good about it is it's accessible in terms of there's always enough of it going about. There's always enough Linkwood. I think, side note, as much as it's easy to bash Diageo for a lot of stuff, right? And we talk about the pricing, and I spoke about the Killyla and the Lagavulin Fischella bottling prices and whatever. It's almost yin and yang. You have to take that hit for them to keep all these distilleries, these amazing distilleries running, to then produce casks that then the likes of yourselves and that can come in, pick up, and do magic with. And so I always kind of have to. I feel like some people might look at me and go like, "Oh, you're always kind of," and I'm like, "No, you've just got to see it's business. You've got to understand it. But if they decide to shut it down, we lose a fuck ton of amazing liquid. And I think
Yeah.
Linkwood's one of those ones that's underappreciated. Ben Rinnes, I'm on a big Ben Rinnes vibe at the moment. I love that texture. I love everything about it. We spoke about Mortlach already tonight. It's an OB. They've kind of done that branding a wee bit. It's an IB, brilliant. Manickmore, we spoke about at the start. Like,
Yep.
you just list them off. It's all them, and it's wild. And I'm going to pull up Kujo's comment here, which is, are younger distilleries put more barrels into the market for IBs? Seems like I've seen more independent English whiskey lately, but that could just be the explosion into. And you're well versed to say this. Are you finding that? Are you getting cask offers and stuff like that of some of these younger ones?
I think that distilleries that are happy. So for Series 25, you bottled in Nickneen. Really fantastic distillery. I think it's Annabelle Thomas that pretty much started up the distillery. Amazing what they're doing up there. Fantastic. Again, another fantastic woman in whiskey doing some pretty cool, interesting stuff. And all their, I believe, certified B as well. Good liquid that's coming out of there. I think that new distilleries that are happy to put their casks for independent bottling, like a Glasgow, you're now starting to see Lockleigh bringing out indie bottled stuff as well. Nick Nean, Ardnamurchan, they're confident in their spirit if they're happy to bring it out to independence. And the thing about it is there's a benefit to that as well because they are showcasing their brand in a different market rather than through their own. It's beneficial to them.
I was just going to say
Beneficial to
that
independent bottler.
they're not the Williamson, they're not the Secret Speyside. They're not taking their name away because they
Yeah.
need to get their name out. But at the same time, they need to know that the liquid's going to hold up to whatever you're going to do to it. Because once they sell you that cask, pretty much you can do whatever you want to it, can't you? You can put it in whatever cask type you want to then finish it or whatever. And I think that's where you mentioned Thompson Brothers doing Circumstance and stuff like that. There's a show of faith, and I think the McNean one was interesting because you bringing that up. You've seen this, the Thompson Brothers bringing out this mystery malt bottling. It's just going to have a big question mark on it, a big black bottle, question
Very
mark,
cool.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I was reading the Dramface article about it when they announced it. And in the comments, a couple of people had went, oh, but what if you get the McNean? Because McNean's one of them. And Simon Thompson came in right away and was like, look, we went through the warehouse and yeah, fine. There is some of it that's no great because it was early. It was, as we've said already tonight, these early maturation processes that you're finding your feet. But we get to the warehouse and we try this stuff, and this is good stuff. Same as what obviously has happened with you guys. Good stuff. We're going to bottle it because at the end of the day, it's our name on the bottle. As much as McNean's in the liquid, it's us. And you're not going to put something out that's substandard and then destroy all the legacy work that you've done to build an audience out. So I think there's a lot of it interesting times. And I'm saying that just as a drinker. Like I've got no skin in the game here. Billy's away to bed. He'll already be in bed because we're going quite slow in the chat here. But Billy, really appreciate you. If you catch us and catch up, Billy's in Oslo. He's finished his bells. He's not been well the last couple of weeks, so this is his first night back in the drams. Appreciate it. Jeffrey's saying Kentucky Derby's about to go off. I would love to go to the Kentucky Derby just to drink the mint juleps. Like the horse racing element of it, it's like us saying to somebody from like Kentucky or LA, like, the Grand National's about to start, and they'd just be like, horse. And then I've noticed Alan's in, the whiskey friend. Alan, good to have you in. Just get in, fellas. We'll see how this chat goes, Alan. If you've just get in, if you've just joined the chat, or if you've just got home, let's see how this plays it. And I'm just going through. Let me see. A lot of people saying hello to each other. And he's saying, I have a man with the hat, Tillerbarden 6. It's very nice, brilliant. And James is saying, so the Kentucky Derby by this point is over. This is how behind the chat we are, mate. This is great. We're catching up to the future. Celebrate the Kentucky Derby winner. I feel Darrell's blend is called for 50% NGP bourbon, 25% Russell single barrel, 25% Green River foolproof. Very good blend, long finish. I can say I've tried Russell's, I've tried NGP, but obviously everything's different. But Green River foolproof. Marcus, you're talking about you want to get into bourbon. In the US, Green River bourbon is a pound for pound hitter. They got bought by Bardstown. In Bardstown at the moment, the stuff they are putting out is amazing as well. So if you see the chance, I've now made Green River. Green River's now over here. It's a wee bit more expensive, obviously, you would accept, but if you see a chance to taste it in a bar or whatever, Green River is good. Let's see. Frank, fully agree with Marcos. Love Linkwood, independent bottling.
I love it. I think it's actually probably up there as one of my favourite distilleries. It is solid. It is good in what it does. It does have a distinctive character. And yeah, as you're saying, that's a bold statement to say about the similarities with like that kind of Rosebank style. But I just think that there's something about it. It's just there's a complexity, but there's a kind of gentleness. It's just I love Linkwood. I really love it. Ian's brought out a few Linkwoods. He brought out a 14 for Series 24, which was banging. He brought out a 17-year-old, which was fantastic as well. His Linkwoods are pretty solid. So if you're wanting to if you've maybe never tried North Star before, and you maybe don't like your peat, and you're like, what do I go for? Try a Linkwood with North Star because they're solid. Try an Orkney. Get Linkwood if you can get a hold. Try an Orkney from North Star if you can get it because his Orkneys are solid as well and good. And if you get a chance to try and some of the Campbelltowns that he's brought out, whether that be in octaves or they're good. They're pretty good.
Crawford's saying, I'm okay with Diageo. It's Macallan that I found diverse of stories about in a lot of ways, taste, staff attitude, etc. I don't know about staff. The weird thing about the Macallan is, right, so I have a history with Macallan that I didn't know about, because being a poor urchin from the East End going to uni, I got a scholarship from the Robinson's Trust to go to uni, which was the Idrington group.
Yep.
So basically, Whisky and the Macallan, Highland Park, Famous Grouse, whatever, gave me money to go to uni. And I only found that out years later. I only kind of, because again, Scottish, you don't connect the dots. You don't really pay attention. So I don't know about the attitude and stuff. I know that I have my gripes. I opened that last night in Scotland, Hogmanay bottle, and it was probably one of the worst whiskies I've opened in a long time. And I'd never, I don't critique. If you've not got something nice to say, don't say it at all. That's kind of my vibe. But I felt so compelled because I was embarrassed that they put that out. And I think that was a terrible whiskey. But yet, on the other hand, I've had independent bottled Macallan that bourbon cask, especially, is unbelievable. Unbelievable Macallan. And I'm not going to let Marcus get in trouble, so I'm just going to hold that entire conversation. I'm taking the Macallan hit on this one. James is going to bed. He's having small sips. James, I appreciate you joining in. James always joins in. And he lives near me, and he won't reveal where. And he knows where to get good bottles, and he won't tell me where. And that's quite a thing. And I pass a guy's house when I walk the dog, and I can see loads of whiskey, and I'm like, is that his house? I don't know. Don't know, James, but I hope you sleep well. Petehead's the same. Frank, switching to listening only mode. Isla's most likely gone, win the battle. Thanks for sharing Drinks Whiskey, and thanks for participating, Marcos. All the best. Petehead, always a pleasure. Tim, just got home too. Better late than never. We'll catch up tomorrow. Absolutely, Tim. Great. Kel saying, Green River DSP KY10 is a shelfer, especially at the foolproof. It's good. James is saying avoid the wheat version of Green River. Everything else is solid. When I'm in Mull next month, she'll try to get McNean. Need to ride a bike and cycle for 90 minutes from the Calmac ferry to get there. Are you having to cycle on the ferry as well to get the ferry to move? Because I looked at getting the ferry to Campbelltown, and it's just not a thing anymore. Love it.
I think it will be a thing though. I think
It
will be a
should
thing.
be eventually. It used to be.
I think with everything happening in Campbelltown, I think Campbelltown will become, in my opinion, I think it will become the whiskey destination in the next 5 to 10 years. I think it will be the place that, because I've always had this thing with Campbelltown. Every time I've been, I've loved it. Right? Every time I've been, the weather's amazing. I remember the first time I went, it was like 25. I mean, there's palm trees that grow there because of the way the Gulf Stream is, right? And I remember 25 degrees, and I walked in the wee sweet shop on the main street. And I said to the woman, I heard you've got a microclimate here. And she just, I'm not telling you what she said to me, right? But I just like, right, okay.
I can
was like, right,
imagine.
okay. No bother. Then the second time that I went, the weather was amazing again. And then the third time I went, the weather was fantastic again. But when the weather goes bad in Campbelltown, it goes really downhill. I've never seen rain like it was going horizontal. It was that bad. Like it was horrendous. But the people there are really nice folk. They love that people come from around the world to go to their wee town to celebrate whiskey. That's what I like about Campbelltown. They like having folk in from Sweden and Norway and America and Asia and England, and obviously people from all over Scotland, and it just all walks of life, and everybody's there for one thing, and it's to just share drams. And yeah, I've met some amazing folk. I've had some really good time there. So I mean, I'm going up in a few weeks, and I'm getting paid for it. But it's like I do it for free. I know it sounds so cliche. I'd do it for free, David, because I'm like, I love Campbelltown so much.
No, I don't doubt that. I'm just shaking my head going like one time I went to uni. I remember to get to uni, I had to go through summer school to make up grades and stuff like that, and one of the girls I went through it with was from Campbelltown, and she used to go home every weekend on the bus.
That's
And
amazing.
also our time being Scottish, like if you don't know, from Glasgow to Edinburgh, I remember going for a job interview, and I worked in a pub at the time in Glasgow, and the regulars were like, "You staying overnight?" And I'm like, "It's 45 minutes away." Like, it's not that far. Campbelltown was like the end of the earth. I couldn't believe she'd be on the bus for like 3.5, 4 hours. I'm like, why would you do that? And I always Julie, her name was Julie. Julie, not that you're watching this at this time of night. I doubt that. But hook me up. If I come to Campbelltown, hook me up. I'm just going to go to the chat. He's saying, once Campbell get their fingers out their arse, they've run one, and Campbelltown is a natural for a whiskey boom. Absolutely. And Kyle saying in the US, I'm lucky enough my local whiskey shop is bringing in a Nicneen tasting next week. That's good news. That's great. That you love to see stuff like that, especially like someone like Nicneen, international distribution, getting that scale. Do you guys do much? Well, I know in Europe you definitely do, but US and stuff like that, do you get bottles over there?
So we've got, I think Ian's had whiskey in the US at one point. We've had whiskey in Australia. We've had whiskey in Canada, or we do have whiskey in Canada. Got whiskey all over Asia, as I say, big in Europe as well. There was a big festival in New Zealand called Drams Fest. Don't know if you've seen it, like kind of a lot of coverage and all the marketing there. We done a bottling for the festival. So the next time we do a bottling for the festival in New Zealand, I'll be like, Ian, like somebody's got to come over and talk about that, right? I'll try and talk him into it 'cause I'd love to go to New Zealand to just talk. But it's like a 3-day whiskey festival. It just looked amazing.
I'm actually
Bottles.
I'm going to have to stand up for this. The Thompson
Oh,
whiskey. Thompson whiskey from New Zealand, which
nice.
the owner and master distiller, blender, everything, flung me 2 years ago at the whiskey show in London, and then proceeded to. I went round to the Woven stand at that point and chatted to Pete, and he's like, "Oh, you tried that? You tried that Kiwi whiskey around there?" And I went, "Oh, it's really good." And then, lo and behold, behind me on my shelf now is Hemispheres Woven, which is a blend between Woven whiskey and Thompson. And I'm like, I was there. I was there. I helped. I want to say I helped just by nodding my head, saying it's really good. I enjoyed that. And he gave me a T-shirt, and it was this T-shirt. This is my Thompson T-shirt. I get to wear
Cool.
whatever I want anyway. You should see what I'm wearing. The lower half, news presenter style. No one ever sees. Dram wise, I'm just going to catch everybody up. I was sipping, you might have noticed I was sipping a wee short. I finished it now, but it was my whiskey of the year last year, the Kuboken 15. Just I don't know if you had it, mate. This is 2023 edition, but just
I've tried
the
it.
the perfect
It's
blend
yeah.
of the
It's
sherry, the spice, the peat, everything.
I don't drink enough of it. I've tried, Tomatin do some good stuff. My mate is like Tomatin. He's Tomatin daft. He's absolutely Tomatin daft, right? He's mental because it was like the biggest distillery in Scotland at one point, like in terms of production. Like I think it was something like was it like eight? Was it mental? I think it was like double digits, right? The Carashuzo that own it. No, the Kabokin stuff is, and it's probably not spoken about enough, in my opinion. It's the
Not at all.
same. It's the same with Old Ballantrae. That's not spoke about enough for peated whiskey. That's quite solid to be fair. That's a good dram.
I
I do
just
like that
found
peated stuff. So.
every show last year, including Whiskey Fringe, where we were myself and Marcos, if you were at Whiskey Fringe last year, you would have seen myself and Marcos, and I hope you never saw us at the end, because we were just very tired. I was very tired. Marcos wasn't. I was very tired. But that's where I first had it. Then I had it at the Whisky Show in London, and every time I kept having it, and like I had this at the end of the Whiskey Fringe, so I was kind of like, okay, I'm remembering it because I had it at the end, like, and so I'm thinking, oh right, it's just that. Then I had it there, and then I had it somewhere else as well, and I was just like, this bottle is just, it's just lingering. And then a friend of mine who loves, big Kalila fan, big just loves this peated stuff, was like, oh, I need to get a present. Like, what should I get? And I was like, get the Kuboken 15 for yourself. And he got it, and he's like, this is sensational. And I was like, fine. And then weirdly on Boxing Day this year, Selfridges, somebody posted in the whiskey group I'm in, Selfridges had it on sale for 50 quid. And I just went right away. I was like, right away. Bought. And the only thing that run it close, which is the one that's now in my glass, which is my lighting setup betrays how it's not quite as dark as that, but it's close. Is what would have won it had I had it earlier in the year.
Oh, the Ben Rennis, the signature Ben Rennis.
This was just the most sensational thing for the money. I think the full boona of value, cost, taste, whatever. And also I was already a Ben Rennis fan, but just a banger of a dram. And I think it'd be interesting to know from your point of view, and maybe this is one of those awkward questions, and if you don't want to answer it, that's fine. Other independent bottlers came out during this signatory vintage 100 period quite aggressively, let's say. Like, they came out punching. And I can see their point. I can absolutely see where they're coming from, but that's maybe business decisions. I think signatory, when you look at the evidence of what they did, well, they took it new make. Like, they were early doors. They're taking it and casking it and doing their stuff, and they've been doing it for a long time. And if they want to sell it at 45 quid a bottle, then they're still making money. Like, that's fine. What impact do you think that's had with you guys, and how did you see it? And if you don't mind me asking that.
I don't think it's had an impact because it's a completely different market at that price point as well. Their stuff's very good, signatory, like Edredauer and Paladin's fantastic stuff. And I've tried one or two of the signature 100 proof series as well. Good value. But at the end of the day, it's everybody's going to look at it in different ways, but it's a free market. So that's basically the best way to answer it. That's it.
No, it's good. Mate, that's a very diplomatic and fair answer, to be fair. It's more, but that's it. It's what I like. Like, I love this bottle. It doesn't mean I go and buy all the bottles from them. Like, I don't. Like, there's tons. I bought my one of my bosses left last year, so I bought him the secret Macallan they had. 47 quid. It cost me 50 quid in a shop. Giving him cash, like 57% Macallan. And he'll appreciate that. He might not even be a big whiskey drinker, but if I told him the story, I'm like, that's Macallan at this
Yeah,
price,
but
at this. You enjoy that. And he's like, oh my God, that's strength. How am I meant to drink that? I'm like, well, dilute it. You get double the bottles. Like,
yeah,
they don't know. And I've not picked up a whole lot. I know that Alan, the whiskey friend, he did a review of the Ben Nevis, but I think it was a 5-year-old.
yeah.
It was like, oh, it's fine. Yeah, it's nice. And I'm like, yeah, because you're going to have that swing. Sometimes you're going to have like 13-year-old Ben Rinnes and 15-year-old or 14-year-old Speyside, Secret, and whatever. But I think if you can put that if you can put that into the hands of people that maybe don't quite know about independent bottlers, it's a kick-off point, and you're saying that's 45 quid, then that starts their adventure in that space as well.
Yeah.
A wee bit. I think North Star, I think it's always been really well priced, and there's always normally one or two bottlings in the release that feel quite cheap from you guys. There was a Kalila that was like 33 quid one year, or like it was mental money. Mental money.
It's he's pricing. That's one thing I've always liked with Northstar and with Ian, is that he's always been really fair with his pricing. Because bearing in mind, some of the bottles you're getting at that price as well, they're single cast. So it might only be 200 or 300 bottles.
Yep.
This is the thing when I love independent bottling. I think it's the best thing about whiskey. People say, but how can you say that? Because you can take a cask, right, or something that may have been blended or vatted into a multitude of casks, into a big vat, bottled out, brought down to 40% for the commercial market. And that's all fine and dandy, but you get this unique cask and you're able to bottle it. And it's that one dram each time you go, oh my goodness, that's phenomenal, I absolutely love that. And it's only £40. Well, you managed to get one. But once you finish it, and if you don't have another one, it's gone. It's like the double-edged sword, because you really enjoyed that dram, but you can't get it again. So you're trying to chase the next one. You're trying to find the next one, and then you start to go down this rabbit hole of your different Lefroys, and go back to like Limburg. My friend went over, and I seen him at my whiskey club. And he went, "Oh, I've only been asleep for like 4 hours." And I'm like, "All right, okay, you need like non-alcoholic beer, pal. Fire away, right?" We were laughing, and he said to me, "I remember that I went there, and there was a 1960 Lefroy." I was like, "Wow." He went, "It was a £10,000 bottle of whiskey." And I was like, "Jeez." It's 160. It was either euros or pounds for a 1 CL. He says, and I tried it. I was like, "Good on you." And he went, "It was phenomenal." Because there was someone that went up and went, "Give me 9 of them." I was like, and he went, 90 CL. Now, bear in mind, that's like, what, 1,500 euros? Sharing it about with everybody. And I was like, "That's cool, man." And that is the beauty of, old whiskey, but also single cask whiskey as well. That you have that, and you need to make it accessible. I've always said that North Star, the best way to describe it is inclusivity and exclusivity. We want you to try a whiskey, we want to make it accessible. We also want, we don't want it, but there is that exclusivity that there may only be a few hundred bottles. And it's kind of like, sometimes it's fastest fingers first. It's sometimes you're going out looking for it. You might walk into a shop and maybe there's a bottle hidden behind the back. But the way that Ian has priced his whiskies, and there's always one or two that go straight away, like the Ben Nevis, of Series 24, and even of Series 25, people are just like bang going for it. They had the marketing that we brought out is solid as well. There's some good drams, but that's what I've liked about that, and that's what makes independent bottling exciting. And I'm not just I love North Star. I think we're one of the best indies out there. I really do. But I just love independent bottling. It's so interesting. It's so exciting.
Were you guys at the Edinburgh show? That Edinburgh Independent Festival
Yes,
that
we
was
were there.
on?
Brilliant
Yeah.
festival. David Stark is awesome. He's absolutely awesome. He's such a good dude, and he does it for the love of whiskey. You can tell he does it for the love of whiskey. And he's got his new book out, which is Whiskyopolis. That's going to be coming out. He's going to be at Campbelltown. He's a good dude in the whiskey industry. He's a really good egg, and I've got nothing but good things to say about him.
Are you
And
doing the? I'm going to ask because on catch up, a few people that have dropped off that will do this on catch up and jump ahead to this point. There's one in Newcastle. Are you doing Newcastle one?
Whiskey and
They're
Deliver,
doing
that's
it.
coming up in September.
Yeah. Are you going
I'm
to
just
be
trying
there?
to iron out the final details, but we might be doing that as well. So, but I've been to
Fair
it.
enough.
I was at it last year, and Carl, who runs it, he's a really nice guy. You can tell again, he's another one that's in it for the love of the whiskey, and I like that. You're in it for the right reasons, and you can tell when you meet someone straight away that they're just so enthusiastic about drams. That's what you want. That's what you want.
Crawford saying Thompson is an industrial estate northeast of Auckland. You find a lot of the bottles in Auckland bars. It's good it's out and about. Alan's went to bed. Catch the rest in replay. Alan, thanks for tuning in. got, let me see. James saying, yeah, I feel Signature is flooded too much on the market in a short time, and they keep bringing it out, and I don't know if it's flooding it. I think they're just making hay while the sun shines, like type thing of putting out their bottles while people are still on the hype train of some of the bottles they put out. And I wonder if, because that Ben Rinnes, I feel like was like one of the stellar releases of that entire wave. And I wonder if they're trying to maybe push off the back of that, going like, oh, look, try this, try that, because we punted it out. A bit like the old Glendronach, put the old stuff in and call it 10. Kyle's going, Ardnahole finally coming to the US, getting the inaugural and Infinity Lock tomorrow at Total Wine on sale, $62 and $53 if I buy some bottles of wine with it. By all means, the Ardnahole stuff holds up. It's really good.
The Ardnahole stuff's good.
It's really good. So look, if you have to buy some Chardonnay or whatever you need to buy with, just buy it. Just buy it. Don't worry about that. Donna Pass Assassin North Star in the US market. Don't remember ever seeing it here. Is it just a distributor? And, well, even now with the tariffs and that, it might get a bit harder.
Yeah, it's really interesting actually. Somebody was speaking to me about this, about the tariffs, and yeah, I think it's very interesting. But I think there was maybe a couple of bottles that made it America, but were primarily more like Australia, New Zealand, Europe, parts of Asia, in Canada, big in Canada as well, with connections there as well. But no, not America. But it'd be cool to have some North Star bottlings in America. I'd like that. That'd be cool.
And Alan, in his sleep, is messaging. Is there plans for any more periodical bottlings?
Do you know that's a really good question.
They're great
I hope
bottles.
so.
They're
I hope
great
so. They're very
bottles.
cool. They are cool. They're good value. And there's good juice that's in them as well. I hope so. I hope so. If it's woken you up to message, I hope so. So
Codger, who came in and proclaimed that he was pissed, has just said he may have dozed off. Time for the pit. Night all. Codger, Godspeed. Sleep well, champ. You've done well. And we've caught up on the chat. Fantastic. Well, on that note, mate, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to let you go to your scratcher at this time. I've just seen the time. It's like fucking 10. This is the latest stream I've ever done. We did have
but
a lot of
because
technical
we're having fun.
difficulties.
Because we're having fun, that's why. So
It was
I'd like to
brilliant,
think so,
mate.
anyway. So
Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for joining. Apologies about any technical difficulties for anyone listening to it. Look, it's live. Like, we'll do it in the fly.
do you know what I'm just
Next
gonna
one will be
say?
better.
David, the bottling's coming. The
The
bottling's
bottling's
coming.
coming. The echo. The echo
Echo.
bottling, the t-shirt, the sticker. We should even do a CD and
Listen,
cassette.
you think I'm
Retro.
kidding, by the way? You think I'm going to walk in Monday morning about, listen, right, one of 30 bottles, the Echo bottling. Can we do something here?
The
Like,
echo
here
bottling.
we go. The Echo bottling.
There has to be something about the past. The past and the future. There has to be like maybe find your oldest grain. Just that. Just put that in, and then just put like some 3-year-old in it, and be like, there you go.
The Echo. I think we could do something with that. Genuinely, I think we could do something with that. I think that'd be cool.
And to be honest, the people chatting away in this chat, and you know a couple of them, and you've met them at shows, and they're coming. They're going to come, and they're going to ask for the echo bottling. That gives us enough sway.
Just
That
say it.
gives
Just
us
say
enough
Ian,
sway.
Ian will be like that. Marcus, what, they keep talking about this Echo bottling. I don't know
What's the
about it. I don't
echo?
know.
Remember the
So,
dolphin? Remember Echo the Dolphin Sega game? There we
do you
go.
remember that?
Let's get.
I could never get my hands around that. I just couldn't. I couldn't.
It was a
I was more a
horrible
Sonic
game.
man myself.
It was such a
Yeah,
terrible game.
I was a Sonic man. So, that shows my age.
So
Like,
maybe we get Echo hitting. Oh god, a light just went out there. As you can just see Harvey Two Face here. Yeah, Echo fighting Sonic. Label. There we go. And they're fighting with mics.
You could that'd be cool. I quite like that. It's like, listen, I'm going in the Monday morning, but you know, like, what's going on here? Like, how you in? So that'd be cool. I'd like
You'll
that.
have people coming to your tasting with t-shirts just saying Echo.
Brilliant.
A joke and a joke, but thank you so much for joining, mate. Really
You're very
appreciate it.
welcome. Thanks for
I'm
coming
gonna sign you off, and I'm gonna wrap this up as I have to do. But thank you, mate. I'll speak to
on.
you
No
later
problem. You're
on.
more than welcome. Thanks very much. Thanks for catching up, man. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody.
And guys, thank you so much. I've still got the last comment up there. Let me get rid of that. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's a little bit later. I know we had a lot of technical difficulties tonight. A lot of that on my part. But as always, thank you for tuning in. And cheers.